The world around us is always hiding secrets far beyond our imagination. From the very first declaration of human rights in Babylon to forgotten ruins, and even the most controversial theories about the universe and mankind. This journey will take you deep into the most mysterious corners of history, where every trace left behind raises new, unanswered questions. So, fasten your seatbelt as we dive into today's mystery. But first, you'll have incredible luck if you like and subscribe before this video ends. The first declaration of human rights. In 1879, amidst the dust of the mighty ruins of Babylon, archaeologists discovered an artifact that seemed modest in shape but carried a profound historical meaning: the Cyrus cylinder. This clay cylinder was not just an ordinary record, but is considered the very first evidence of the ideals of freedom and tolerance in human history. It was inscribed in cuneiform, recording the decrees issued by Cyrus the Great, the outstanding king of ancient Persia, right after he conquered Babylon in 539 BC. The contents of the cylinder reveal a major turning point in the history of Mesopotamia. After his victory, instead of seeking revenge or imposing harsh rule, Cyrus freed the enslaved peoples, most notably the Jews. He allowed them to return to Jerusalem, rebuild their temple, and reclaim the identity they had lost under Babylonian rule. This act made the image of Cyrus live on in the memories of many generations of Jews, even being remembered as a savior in the Bible. However, when reading the cylinder closely, one cannot help but be surprised. Cyrus does not mention the God of the Jews. Instead, he claims that he was chosen and inspired by Marduk, the supreme god of Babylon. This was a unique mark of his multicultural vision of governance. Cyrus did not force anyone to change their faith, but always sought harmony and even showed respect for local traditions to strengthen his power. Because of that, he built a vast empire where many ethnicities coexisted, many religions were protected, and different cultures could develop side by side. Thanks to this policy of tolerance, the Persian Empire under Cyrus became a model for the art of governance in later generations. Many modern scholars consider the Cyrus cylinder to be the first declaration of human rights in the world. Even though it is just a short inscription on clay, the ideas of freedom, peace, and respect for human dignity have echoed through thousands of years of history, inspiring many generations to come. The Cyrus cylinder reminds us that human values, freedom, and respect for differences were already engraved in ancient times, and that these are the true foundations for any lasting society. Nuclear destruction in ancient India. More than 4,000 years ago, amid the arid lands of South Asia, a great civilization once flourished along the banks of the Indus River. This was where the two cities of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa shone brightly like gems amidst the yellow sands of the desert. When archaeologists first set foot in these ancient ruins in the 20th century, they were astonished. The straight, orderly streets, the sturdy brick walls, and the astonishingly advanced drainage systems, all these revealed a level of construction and organization among the people of the Indus that was in no way inferior to that of the Egyptians or the Mesopotamians. Even the smallest houses had their own private bathrooms, and clean water flowed to every alleyway. The entire city was connected by an ingenious network of underground channels, providing a level of convenience that humanity would not achieve again for many centuries. But it was here too that researchers found a haunting end. Human skeletons lay scattered throughout the streets, their postures suggesting they had been running for their lives, evidence of an unexpected tragedy that had descended upon this once thriving place. Some believed the Indus civilization had been destroyed by an invading army. Others theorized that plague, famine, or floods had swept everything away. However, the most mysterious story arises from a theory about a destruction far beyond anything the ancient mind could imagine. In the 1950s, researcher David Davenport spent an entire decade poring over ancient Indian epics and conducting field studies on site. He discovered that, within the area of the ancient city, many ceramic artifacts, bricks, and stones had been melted and fused together, as if they had just been through an inexplicable storm of fire. The temperature at the site at the time of the event may have exceeded 2,700 degrees Celsius, enough to melt all materials in the blink of an eye. The affected area had a radius of nearly 60 meters, where walls were bent, bricks shattered, and glass-like compounds appeared on the ground. There was no trace of volcanic activity, nor was there any evidence of a meteorite. Faced with such undeniable evidence, he put forward a shocking hypothesis. Could it be that the Indus civilization had once been struck by an explosion with the destructive force of a nuclear weapon? What is truly astonishing is that the Mahabharata, one of humanity's oldest epics, once described a divine weapon so powerful that a single use could reduce every living thing to ashes. They called it the Iron Thunderbolt, a force sent as a messenger of death, bringing annihilation to an entire race. These ancient verses, long dismissed as mere legend, now seem chilling when placed alongside archaeological evidence that defies the imagination. Where did such a weapon come from? Who possessed such destructive power in the Bronze Age? The answer appears to have been buried along with the secrets of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, leaving behind a question for future generations that has never truly been answered. The abandoned psychiatric hospital. Located on the historic grounds of Worcester, Massachusetts, Worcester State Hospital once stood as a symbol of both hope and darkness in the history of mental health treatment in America. Established in the early 19th century, this hospital was the first in the state dedicated to caring for those suffering from mental disorders, marking a new chapter in medicine as doctors attempted to find ways to treat patients who had been abandoned by society. However, the early years of Worcester State Hospital were colored by tragedy and controversy. At a time when modern treatment methods had yet to appear, the hospital employed many frightening practices. Lobotomies, electroshock therapy, and long-term isolation all were once seen as lifelines for patients. But in reality, these measures created a lingering nightmare. Hundreds of patients across generations endured harsh lives within the thick walls, where the line between healing and torment became dangerously blurred. As time passed and medicine advanced, the hospital was expanded with new buildings to reduce overcrowding. Yet even this development was not enough to save Worcester State Hospital from the tide of history. With the advent of new medications and more humane therapeutic approaches, outdated institutions like this gradually became obsolete and were ultimately forced to close. A massive fire in 1991 destroyed most of the hospital's architecture, leaving only the old administration building standing silent and solitary in the middle of the grounds, like a quiet witness to an entire dark era. Today, most of the hospital's area has been replaced by a modern medical center, but the silhouette of the administration building still evokes memories of the days when Worcester State Hospital was filled with pain, hope, and countless human destinies. Behind those cold grey stone walls, the memories of patients, doctors, and so many untold stories seem to echo through every window, threading their way through the shadows of empty corridors. The hospital is not just a historical relic, but a profound reminder of humanity's long journey in search of compassion and healing for wounded souls. The GZA Calendar. On the ancient lands of Israel, where the footsteps of countless civilizations once echoed, archaeologists have unearthed a small tablet that has left the entire world of historical scholarship pondering: the GZA Calendar. This artifact, meticulously carved onto a slab of soft limestone, bears ancient Hebrew script that has survived for more than 3,000 years, dating to around 950 BC, the era when the very first kings of Israel still ruled over this land. At first glance, this unique calendar appears very simple, listing only the year's activities: 2 months of harvest, 2 months of planting, 1 month of hoeing, 1 month of reaping barley, 2 months of gathering grapes, and 1 month enjoying summer fruit. Each line of inscription reads like a brief diary entry from a farmer of old, reflecting a life intimately tied to the fields and the unending cycle of seasons on this harsh, semi-desert land. Yet, despite generations of scholarly decoding, the true function of this tablet remains shrouded in mystery. Some believe it to be an ancient agricultural calendar, helping people remember and organize their seasonal work. Others lean toward the theory that it is a nursery, rhyme, or lullaby, passed down through families at every harvest season. There are even scholars who see it as a tax register or a list of contributions owed by village farmers, evidence of a society that had developed a sense of organization at a very early date. It is precisely this disarming simplicity of the GZA calendar that makes it even more mysterious. No one can say with certainty what the original intent of the writer was, nor whether the language inscribed is the very first form of Hebrew, or perhaps a branch of ancient Phoenician. While the Maya calendar with its complex astronomical calculations has long stunned the world, the GZA calendar is simply a series of humble notes, emphasizing the beauty of basic human intelligence and the quiet pride of Mediterranean farmers of antiquity. To this day, the tablet remains quietly on display in a museum, waiting for someone to unlock the true story hidden behind those simple characters. The Royal Hunting Palace, hidden deep within the English countryside. The remains of Woodstock Palace quietly tell a story that stretches across 7 centuries, intertwined with royalty and power. In days long past, this place was once the magnificent hunting palace of English kings, with a total of 16 monarchs having set foot here. Within its grand halls unfolded countless lavish banquets, political gatherings, and also quiet moments of reflection among members of the royal family. As time passed, Woodstock Palace gradually became a witness to many of the great upheavals in England's history. It was here that Queen Elizabeth I, while still a princess, was once held in exile. This was also the birthplace of princes, and a resting place for kings who would later change the fate of the entire nation. Yet, after nearly 700 years of existence, this palace was demolished at the beginning of the 18th century to make way for the more splendid and modern Blenheim Palace, a structure that, in its grandeur, somehow lacks the legendary aura of its predecessor. Although the original palace has vanished completely, archaeologists continue to search tirelessly for the traces that remain. Recently, they discovered an ancient system of watermills and stone channels deep underground, connecting to an artificial lake built in the 14th century known as Queen's Pond, the Lake of Queen Philippa. These remnants not only reflect the advancement of medieval construction techniques, but also evoke the image of a Woodstock that was once a center of power, prosperity, and brimming with unsolved mysteries. Today, Woodstock Palace has almost faded into obscurity amidst the green fields and moss-covered stone walls, but every stone and every stream still preserves the memory of a radiant golden era where past and present meet in the modest ruins that remain beneath the earth. The hypothesis of artificial structures on the moon. For decades, the moon has remained a subject of fascination for those drawn to the mysteries of the cosmos. Yet, beyond the familiar theories about the formation of our satellite, there once emerged a hypothesis that shook the scientific world and sparked endless debate. The idea that the moon is not a natural object, but the creation of an extraterrestrial intelligence. This bold hypothesis was first put forward by 2 Soviet scientists, Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov, in 1970. According to them, the unusual features in the moon's structure and orbit could not be explained simply by conventional physical laws. They envisioned that beneath the pale rocky surface was a solid metal core, like a protective suit of armor shielding a vast hollow interior. They also suggested that a network of massive tunnels had been carved by giant machines working deep within the moon to create an intricate technical space. The entire satellite, they believed, might be a kind of spacecraft disguised beneath a layer of stone, then skillfully maneuvered into orbit around Earth as we see it today. This hypothesis immediately set off a wave of heated debate. Some argued that the idea was far too implausible, while others began searching for evidence to support it. In documents and photographs of the lunar surface released by NASA, strange geometric shapes have occasionally appeared. In one image, a rectangular structure was recorded in the center of a giant crater, looking almost like a base or the remnants of something long buried by time. Many observers have spent countless hours examining every corner of lunar images, hoping to find traces that would prove the moon was once used by some extraterrestrial civilization. Although these mysterious images have yet to be confirmed as solid evidence for the artificial moon hypothesis, the question remains unanswered. Perhaps all of this is nothing more than a coincidence of nature, or perhaps our universe still holds secrets far beyond our imagination. Whatever the case may be, the idea of a moon crafted by alien hands remains an undying spark in the minds of those who hunger for discovery and dream of things the world has never known. The medical mysteries of Egypt. When people think of ancient Egyptian civilization, they often picture massive pyramids, powerful pharaohs, and enigmatic statues of the gods. Yet, hidden beneath the sands of time, the land of the Nile also holds countless medical mysteries and strange customs that continue to astonish scientists today. It can be said that the ancient Egyptians were true masters in blending religious belief, experimental science, and daring treatments that sometimes went far beyond the norms of the ancient world. In the field of medicine, they devised many methods for examining and addressing health issues that modern people would hardly imagine. For instance, pregnancy tests involved pouring urine onto barley or wheat, and observing whether the seeds would sprout, a bizarre technique, but one that has been shown by modern science to have a certain degree of effectiveness. When faced with the headaches and hangovers following endless festival celebrations, Egyptians would fashion laurel leaves into crowns and wear them on their heads, believing it would drive away the pain. As for contraception, their methods were astonishingly bold. Crocodile dung mixed with honey or various herbs was used as an ancient barrier inserted into the body. The love of beauty was not limited to the nobility, but spread to commoners and, notably, to men as well. It was not only women who favored cosmetics. Egyptian men also used eyeshadow, lipstick, and a variety of fragrances, believing that makeup not only enhanced their appearance but also warded off evil spirits and disease. In the private chambers of the upper class, there was no shortage of jars of cream and mineral-based powders, skillfully crafted to beautify the skin while protecting it from the harsh desert sun. The greatest mystery, which still amazes later generations, is the art of mummification, a process that lasted more than 2 months and involved many complex steps, such as removing all the internal organs and brain, drying the body with natron salt, and then wrapping it in hundreds of meters of fine linen. Every step was deeply spiritual, intended to preserve the body for eternal life in the world beyond. Alongside the mummies, pharaohs were buried with countless treasures. Golden sandals decorated with images of their enemies so they could walk over their foes, dozens of pairs of leather shoes, statues of deities, amulets, and weapons. One cannot fail to mention the mysterious bond between Egyptians and cats, creatures so revered that when a cat died, the entire household would mourn by shaving off their eyebrows. In the temples of the goddess Baste, thousands of cats were buried and mummified with solemn ceremony. In ancient paintings, it is common to see small cones made of beeswax, filled with fragrance, worn on the head during major festivals as a ritual of purification and to bring good fortune. Perhaps most astonishing of all is the discovery of ancient mummies bearing traces of cocaine and nicotine substances that originate only in the Americas, leading to a controversial hypothesis about transatlantic voyages thousands of years ago, and raising the question of whether the Egyptians once connected with distant continents across the ocean. All these secret arts, treasures, and rituals not only enrich human history, but also stand as testament to the creativity, curiosity, and fierce belief in eternal life, a legacy of the ancient Egyptians that remains deeply imprinted to this day. The City of Eridu and the Sumerians. If there was ever a place that could be called the starting point of human civilization, it would be the City of Eridu, nestled deep within the ancient land of Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers embrace the fertile plain. Eridu is regarded as the cradle of Sumerian civilization, one of the earliest and most important civilizations ever to appear on Earth. Ancient Sumerian records tell that Eridu was where the gods first set foot upon the earth. According to legend, this city was not simply a place where people began to gather and build their lives, but the very cradle where the gods bestowed upon humanity their most fundamental knowledge. Perhaps for this reason, Eridu has always been associated with the image of a sacred land, and many scholars even believe that the biblical legend of the Garden of Eden was inspired by this very place. Eridu stood out not only for its spiritual significance, but also as the first true center of urban life. Here, small scattered communities joined together, working hand in hand to build the earliest structures out of mud brick, to develop irrigation systems, and to advance the arts and religious practices. Over the centuries, Eridu became a symbol of human intellect, creativity, and adaptability at the dawn of history. Yet, no kingdom lasts forever. As the population grew, the resources around Eridu were gradually exhausted. The land became depleted, irrigation water was no longer abundant, and the legendary city that had once been the center of the entire region slowly faded away. The people of Eridu were forced to leave their homeland, carrying with them memories of a golden age now past, spreading throughout Mesopotamia and laying the foundations for many new cities and cultures. Today, standing before the ruins that remain in the deserts of Iraq, one cannot help but sense the greatness of Eridu, as well as absorb a profound lesson about growth and decline, about the extraordinary connection between legend, faith, and what humans are capable of creating with their own two hands. It was from Eridu that humanity began its never-ending journey to conquer the world, opening the very first chapter in the story of civilization. Julius Caesar and the conquest of Gaul. When speaking of the most legendary names in Roman history, no one can overlook Julius Caesar, the man who changed the destiny of an entire empire and ushered in a new era for ancient Europe. In the final decade before the Common Era, when Rome was still a republic, Caesar was just an ambitious governor. Yet, within less than a decade, he conquered the vast territory to the North Gaul, which is now modern-day France, and laid the solid foundation for the rise of the legendary Roman Empire. Beginning his campaign in 59 BC, Julius Caesar faced the immense expanse of Gaul, home to fierce tribes renowned for their relentless resistance. Yet, with exceptional military acumen, he swiftly turned brutal battles into resounding victories. Caesar not only defeated his enemies on the battlefield, but also knew how to subdue them through a combination of firmness and diplomatic finesse. One triumph followed another, from the heights of the Ardennes to the fortresses along the Atlantic coast, spreading his fame throughout Rome and striking fear into the hearts of his adversaries. More importantly, the conquest of Gaul brought Julius Caesar not only land and riches, but also unprecedented power. Thanks to his prestige and the unwavering support of his soldiers, he steadily consolidated his position, overcoming all political rivals at home and ultimately ascending to the highest rank. In 50 BC, after completing his campaign in Gaul, Caesar returned to Rome in a blaze of glory. It was at this moment that Rome began its transformation from a republic to a great empire, with Julius Caesar as its first emperor, the man who laid the groundwork for a dazzling era that would last for centuries to come. The legacy Julius Caesar left behind is not just in military victories, but in the profound transformation of Rome's political and social structure. He redrew the map of ancient Europe, established enduring standards of leadership, vision, and the will to overcome all limits. From the legends of Gaul to the throne of Rome, Caesar remains an enduring symbol of a golden age where strength, intellect, and an unyielding drive for conquest changed the fate of the Western world. Victorian death masks. The Victorian death masks, once chilling symbols of a haunting era in England, were unexpectedly discovered in a dusty storage facility on the outskirts of the country. These were not merely casts taken from the faces of the deceased, but a collection of objects with both historical and spiritual value, especially as some of them bore the likenesses of infamous criminals who once spread fear throughout the streets of London. During the Victorian period, Western society placed deep faith in peculiar scientific theories, most notably phrenology, a field that claimed the shape of a person's skull could reveal character traits and even predict criminal tendencies. As a result, after every execution, it was common practice to take a plaster cast and create a death mask, preserving the final imprint of dangerous criminals. These masks were displayed at universities, museums, or even passed down within families devoted to the study of criminology. The recently uncovered collection aroused curiosity not just because of the rigid, cold faces, but also because of the marks of time etched into every detail. Among them are masks of notorious murderers, and even one that was at some point painted with lipstick for the purpose of practicing makeup, adding to the eerie atmosphere. With 9 masks found, the value of the collection is estimated at tens of thousands of dollars at auction, including the faces of some of the most wanted criminals in 19th century England. The reappearance of these masks not only revives curiosity about classical science, but also serves as a reminder of a tumultuous period in history, where the line between belief, fear, and science was never clear-cut. Behind each mask lies a life story, a mystery about human nature that continues to provoke reflection across generations. Sargon of Akad. When it comes to the great conquerors who laid the foundation for Western civilization, it is impossible not to mention Sargon of Akad, the man who set in motion the first great transformation in human history. Born into humble circumstances as the illegitimate son of a temple priestess, Sargon had no privilege or status in the ancient world. He grew up beneath the shadow of prejudice and hardship, yet possessed a rare strength of will and intelligence. Legend has it that in his early years, Sargon was abandoned by his mother and set adrift on a river, a test of fate, before being rescued and raised by a gardener. It was these years of hardship that shaped him into a man who dared to rise above every limitation. As he came of age, Sargon gradually proved his character through leadership and his remarkable ability to connect with people. He not only won the trust of ordinary citizens, but also earned the respect of the powerful leaders around him. With a combination of military might and diplomatic skill, Sargon conquered and unified the many scattered city-states of Mesopotamia. The pinnacle of his power was the founding of the Akkadian Empire, the first multinational empire in history, where peoples of different languages, beliefs, and customs lived together under a single banner. Unlike rulers who governed solely by force, Sargon focused on building a tightly run administrative system, laying the groundwork for a bureaucracy that stretched from the central government to every local outpost. He allowed conquered lands to keep their traditional customs and at the same time encouraged cultural exchange, strengthening the inner fabric of the entire empire. This model of multi-ethnic administration paved the way for many great empires that followed from Assyria and Babylon to Persia and Rome. Sargon's achievements were not limited to military conquests. His real legacy lay in his vision of a diverse society, one that balanced competing interests and inspired generations to come. More than 4,000 years later, the story of Sargon still holds its meaning. A lowly beginning does not determine one's future. What truly matters is the strength of will and the greatness of one's ambition. His legacy continues to resonate quietly in the ways our world approaches diversity and aspires for peace among nations today. Is the Great Pyramid of Giza an energy machine? For more than 4,500 years, the Great Pyramid of Giza has stood not only as an immortal symbol of ancient Egypt, but also as the center of countless mysterious theories that stretch beyond the imagination of modern man. One of the most controversial ideas suggests that this monumental structure was never just the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu. It was, in fact, a colossal energy machine, a device designed to harness the hidden forces of the earth, or perhaps even to connect with technology from an extraterrestrial civilization. Supporters of this unorthodox theory point to many strange features of the pyramid. The granite blocks within the corridors have been found to contain traces of mild radioactivity, something rarely seen in other ancient structures. The dolomite used in its construction is known to be a good conductor of electricity, and the entire pyramid is situated on a site believed to channel natural electric currents running beneath the ground. According to legend, the very tip of the pyramid was once encased in gold, a precious metal renowned for its conductivity, forming the perfect link in this grand circuit. Some even argue that the narrow passageways, hidden chambers, and hollow spaces inside were optimally designed to amplify, concentrate, or transmit a mysterious energy source. However, mainstream science has always emphasized that all energy machine theories are purely products of human imagination. According to Egyptologists, the pyramid was built for one singular purpose, as the eternal tomb of a pharaoh, a place where the king's soul could ascend and continue to rule in the afterlife. There is no archaeological evidence, historical documentation, or experimental data to support the existence of electrical technology or any special energy currents involved in the construction of the pyramid. Yet, the mysterious allure of the Great Pyramid of Giza has never faded. It is precisely the intersection of science, history, and legend that has turned this monument into an endless source of inspiration for generations of seekers, researchers, and dreamers alike. Do those massive stones conceal only a royal tomb, or could they still be hiding a secret far beyond our modern understanding? That remains a question with no final answer. The mysterious cavities and caves beneath the pyramid. Hidden within the massive stonework of the Great Pyramid of Giza, mysterious voids once thought to be completely inaccessible have, for the first time, been revealed thanks to modern technology known as muography, a technique that uses cosmic muon particles to see inside monumental structures without disturbing a single stone. Through these piercing eyes, scientists have discovered two large hollow spaces previously unknown, tucked deep behind the northern face of the pyramid, in places where, for thousands of years, no human had ever set foot. This discovery immediately sparked a wave of dramatic theories. Some suggest these could be ancient tunnels secretly left behind by the builders, or perhaps chambers meant to store lost treasures or forgotten knowledge of the pharaohs. There are even those who claim these could be mystical passages leading to secrets of the Egyptian civilization never before revealed. Some researchers cannot help but recall the old rumors of a labyrinthine underground world beneath Giza, a place where ancient kings and magicians supposedly hid priceless artifacts, manuscripts, and technologies far ahead of their time. In addition to the hollow spaces, many Western explorers have recounted stories of discovering a vast network of underground caves directly beneath the pyramids, inhabited by colonies of bats and poisonous spiders, forming a unique ecosystem amid the sand and stone. In fact, some old memoirs describe long, endless corridors and chilly subterranean rooms that were once found and then forgotten, almost as if an entirely different world exists just beneath the feet of these monumental structures. Not everyone, however, believes these compelling stories. Some of Egypt's most renowned archaeologists, notably Dr. Zahi Hawass, have publicly dismissed most of the theories about hidden caves and secret rooms beneath the pyramid, insisting there is no scientific evidence to support such legends. According to them, these recent findings are nothing more than technical voids, spaces deliberately created by ancient builders as part of the construction process for such a massive monument. Even so, these denials have only fueled the public's curiosity further. To this day, the two mysterious voids and the entire underground system beneath Giza remain subjects of heated debate, where every new discovery brings more questions than answers. Beneath the shadow of these ancient stone walls, is there still something waiting to be uncovered, or are these merely the eternal echoes of mysteries that may never be explained? The Golden Rock Pagoda. At the summit of Mount Kyaiktiyo in Myanmar lies a site that leaves every visitor in awe. A massive boulder covered in shimmering gold, perched precariously on the edge of a cliff as if defying every law of nature. This is the Golden Rock Pagoda, one of the most sacred and mysterious sites in all of Asia. This enormous stone, estimated to weigh tens of tons, rests silently upon a natural granite base, touching it at only a single point. Yet for thousands of years, it has not shifted an inch. Crowning the boulder is a modest yet solemn pagoda, its gold-plated exterior glinting beneath the sun. What makes the Golden Rock truly extraordinary is that its entire surface is adorned with countless layers of gold leaf, the result of generations of devotion and faith. Each gold leaf is an offering from pilgrims who, through their journey, express a profound belief in the power of the spiritual. Beneath this awe-inspiring appearance lies a vibrant legend, passed down through countless generations. According to local tradition, long ago, a hermit who had spent years in ascetic practice was granted a sacred hair by the Buddha himself. The hermit entrusted this precious relic to a king, with the wish that a pagoda be built atop a mountain, placing the hair beneath a boulder shaped like the hermit's own head. Through supernatural strength, the king and the deities discovered the stone at the bottom of the sea, brought it back, and set it atop Kyaiktiyo, keeping it perfectly balanced by the Buddha's single hair. It is faith in this miracle that has allowed the rock to withstand the ages, seeming untouchable in the face of storms and the passage of time. For the people of Myanmar, the Golden Rock is not merely a famous landmark, it is a sacred symbol tied deeply to the spiritual heart of the nation. Every year, thousands of Buddhists from all corners of the country embark on a pilgrimage to this site, braving winding mountain paths and trials along the way just to lay their hands upon the golden surface, offering prayers for peace and happiness for themselves and their families. They believe that simply touching the Golden Rock will bring the Buddha's blessing upon them for life. Beyond its spiritual significance, the Golden Rock Pagoda stands as a symbol of faith, perseverance, and unyielding hope. The golden boulder, suspended between earth and sky, reminds all who come here of the true power of belief that even the seemingly impossible can endure through sheer will and devotion. This is why the Golden Rock has become an essential destination for anyone seeking to uncover the eternal mysteries of the East. Castello Deusi. Perched atop the rugged cliffs of Sicily, Castello Deusi rises like an unassailable fortress, silent and solemn amid the sky and clouds, overlooking the deep green valleys that stretch endlessly below. This structure bears the unmistakable hallmarks of classic Norman Gothic architecture, with its massive stone walls, battlements that curve along the mountainside, and a formidable main gate that once served as the last line of defense against countless invasions. The strategic placement of the castle not only provided absolute security, but also allowed anyone standing on its heights to take in the peaceful Sicilian countryside, a land that has witnessed more than its share of history's upheavals. Originally built as a military stronghold at the end of the 14th century, Castello Deusi has passed through centuries of shifting ownership. First belonging to the Norman lords, the castle was expanded and reinforced with new ramparts and watchtowers, then transferred again and again among the region's most powerful families. There was a time when it was even used as a prison, its cold stone bars confining the desperate and the forgotten. As the tides of history turned, the castle was abandoned for hundreds of years before being restored by Sicilian aristocrats, standing ever since as a silent witness to the island's endless transformations. Yet what gives Castello Deusi its unique aura is not just its imposing architecture or storied past, but the dark legends that linger within its walls. Most famous is the tale of the three beautiful daughters of a young prince, tragic sisters, who were locked away by their own father in a secret chamber deep within the castle, all in a desperate attempt to keep them safe from harm as war swept the land. Day after day, no rescue ever came, the door remained forever closed, and the three girls eventually succumbed to hunger and fear, unable to withstand the despair that engulfed them. When the prince finally returned in triumph, he opened the stone door only to find three skeletons, and the soft cries of grief that, from then on, haunted every corner and every crack of the castle. From that time forward, the castle became rumored to be haunted by the restless spirits of the three sisters. The sound of quiet sobbing and mysterious pleas for help echoing through the midnight halls has long kept the faint of heart from drawing near. Whether or not there is any truth to the legend, it has become inseparable from the castle's chilling atmosphere, transforming Castello Deusi into an irresistible destination for history enthusiasts, and anyone brave enough to experience the spine-tingling allure of a place where every stone holds secrets yet untold by time. The mysterious circles of Peru. Hidden within the sacred valley near the city of Cusco, the ruins of Morai rise up like enormous rings carved deep into the surface of the Andes by human hands centuries ago. Viewed from above, three tiers of circular terraces are stacked one inside the other, forming step after step that seem to lead straight down into the heart of the earth. Each ring descends lower and lower, creating deep pits with an almost perfect precision that astonishes anyone who visits, leaving them in awe of the intelligence and technical skill of ancient people. Morai is not the typical terraced field that travelers might encounter along the mountain slopes. Here, every large circle was designed to create temperature differences between the levels, sometimes with a difference of more than 15 degrees Celsius from top to bottom. Because of this, many researchers believe the site functioned as an outdoor agricultural laboratory, where the Inca tested the growth of different crops under unique microclimates at each level, allowing them to choose the varieties best suited to the rugged highlands. This idea becomes even more convincing when you consider the cleverly arranged irrigation channels and reservoirs surrounding the site, ensuring each terrace received enough water despite the harsh climate. Yet, Morai remains a mystery with no final answer. Some theories claim that this place was once a ceremonial center, where the Inca held grand festivals and rituals to honor the gods and pray for bountiful harvests. Local people still tell stories of ancient rites that once took place here, transforming the site into a sacred space closely tied to indigenous spirituality. Others suggest that Morai was originally the remnant of an exhausted mining pit, later repurposed for agriculture or religious purposes. And, even more curiously, some true believers claim that these circles are UFO traces, landing pads for extraterrestrial beings who once visited South America. The ruins of Morai were first discovered in the 1930s, when archaeologists glimpsed their strange patterns from the air. Since then, the site has become a symbol of the creativity and limitless imagination of the Inca people, a subject of endless debate. Whether it was a laboratory, a ceremonial center, or a UFO landing site, Morai remains an unsolved enigma on the Peruvian plateau, where time and legend blend together, leaving behind questions for generations yet to come. The Giant Beaver. Few people can imagine that, among the frozen and wild landscapes of prehistoric North America, there once lived a creature whose appearance was familiar, yet whose size defied every boundary of the imagination. This was the Giant Beaver, a creature whose very name sparks curiosity in anyone who hears it. If you think today's small, industrious beavers building dams in Canada are impressive and adorable, just imagine their enormous ancestor, a species that survived the harshest days of the Ice Age, living alongside some of the most formidable beasts of that ancient era. The giant beaver was not only larger than any rodent alive today, but it could even rival some of the most well-known predators in terms of sheer size. An adult giant beaver could grow to more than 2 meters in length and weigh up to 100 kilograms, making it bigger than most grown humans. What truly set this animal apart was its pair of enormous front teeth, long, thick, and curved like two giant bananas. These teeth weren't just for gnawing wood, like modern beavers use, but also served as powerful weapons for defense in an environment full of dangers. When scientists found traces of those teeth etched into fossilized logs, it was impossible not to shudder at the thought of the fierce survival battles these giant beavers faced deep in the forests, along lake shores, or among the frozen marshes. Amazingly, the giant beaver did not just live in remote wilderness, It once shared the land with some of the first humans to set foot in North America. Fossil evidence shows their presence along lakes and in vast wetlands from Canada and the United States all the way south, and archaeological sites have even revealed giant beaver bones lying side by side with ancient stone tools. Stories passed down by northern indigenous tribes speak of creatures half bear, half rat, known for felling trees, digging burrows, and building huge dams, stories that reflect the magical interconnection between people and nature in the earliest days of settlement. Despite their impressive size and strength, the giant beaver could not withstand the relentless changes at the end of the Ice Age. As the glaciers melted and ecosystems shifted, their specialized habitats shrank, food sources grew scarce, and, combined with the pressures brought on by the arrival of modern humans, these remarkable creatures gradually disappeared from the map of life. Around 10,000 years ago, the giant beaver went extinct, leaving behind a mysterious tale of a great beast that once walked alongside our ancestors in those icy, untamed lands. The story of the giant beaver is more than just a vivid reminder of a lost wild world. It is a lesson about the fragility of nature in the face of time's changes. Perhaps, on a quiet winter's night in the northern wilderness, as you watch the small beavers busily building their dams along a stream, you might just imagine the gentle giant who once roamed this earth, a living memory of the Ice Age that still echoes faintly to this very day. Armenia Stonehenge. Amid the misty valleys of southern Armenia, where the Caucasus Mountains rise like endless green walls, there exists a mysterious site that many still call the Stonehenge of Armenia. This is Zorat's Kara, or Karahunj, a vast ancient complex sprawling across more than 11 acres, marked by over 200 upright stone pillars standing tall against the sky. These ancient grey stones, weathered by thousands of years, never fail to leave visitors in awe, their strange and timeless presence evoking a sense of wonder. The most remarkable feature of Zorat's Kara is the dozens of standing stones with perfectly round holes drilled near their tops. No one knows for certain why the ancient builders created these openings, but the theory of a prehistoric astronomical observatory is widely mentioned by modern researchers. Some scholars believe that, on summer nights thousands of years ago, the ancient Armenians would gather here using the drilled holes to track the movement of the stars, marking sunrise and sunset or significant celestial events. This theory is strengthened by the fact that some stones are aligned with the rising sun during the summer and winter solstices, suggesting a culture deeply connected to the night sky. Still, the debate over the true purpose of Zorat's Kara has never ceased. Some archaeologists argue that this site was once an ancient burial ground, as numerous tombs and burial mounds dating back thousands of years have been found within the area. Others suggest it served as a fortress or a wartime refuge, a place where people sought protection amid the treacherous mountain conflicts. There are even those who believe Zorat's Kara was once a spiritual center where the ancestors of the Armenian people prayed for bountiful harvests and lasting peace. As the centuries have passed, the true meaning of Zorat's Kara seems only to grow more elusive, wrapped in the ever-thickening mists of history. Even today, the site remains a topic of lively debate among scholars worldwide. Some researchers have boldly theorized that it predates Stonehenge by thousands of years, forcing the world to reconsider what is known about the ancient civilizations of the Caucasus. Whatever the final answer may be, Zorat's Kara retains its enduring allure, a place where majestic nature, ancient legend, and the grandeur of human endeavor meet. With each step among the towering stones and mysterious skyward-pointing holes, visitors cannot help but feel a sense of the sacred and the endlessly mysterious, as if every ancient secret is still waiting for someone patient enough to uncover it. Suakin Island ruins. Amid the turquoise waters of the Red Sea, Suakin Island emerges like a hauntingly beautiful tableau, a place where the ruins of a once thriving ancient city still quietly defy the passage of time. Few would guess that thousands of years ago, Suakin was a vital gateway connecting Africa with the Arab world, from the days of the Egyptian pharaohs to the height of the Islamic Golden Age. It was here that caravans of merchants, explorers, and even pilgrims on their way to Mecca paused to exchange goods and ideas, spreading their cultures to distant lands. What makes Suakin truly unique is its remarkable architecture. The entire city was built from coral hauled up from the depths of the sea. Brilliant white coral blocks formed houses, castles, mosques, palaces, city gates, and even the narrow, winding streets that threaded through the old neighborhoods. When sunlight strikes the island, the coral ruins glisten, highlighting both the fragile and majestic beauty of a city that has witnessed centuries of upheaval. For generations, Suakin served as a crucial trading center and a crossroads for migration, pilgrimage, and cultural exchange between Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian Ocean. But as the 19th century dawned and the slave trade was abolished, Suakin's strategic importance gradually faded. The merchant caravans departed, residents left their homeland, and the once bustling city was reduced to crumbling walls, weathered domes, and silent streets. Today, Suakin Island exists only as a ruin, but its very desolation has made it an irresistible destination for those fascinated by archaeology and passionate about exploring the past. Every coral stone on the island seems to preserve the memory of a golden era, a time of untold stories about people, the sea, and the great transformations that shaped the history of this extraordinary land. Savage Pack Hunter. Perhaps not many people have ever heard the name Maposaurus, but once you set foot in the ancient land of Patagonia, the image of this beast will forever haunt the imagination of anyone passionate about paleontology. In 2006, scientists first discovered the fossilized bones of Maposaurus in a remote region of Argentina. This discovery not only stunned the paleontological community, but also opened up an entirely new chapter about the predators that once ruled the Cretaceous period. Maposaurus may not be as famous as Tyrannosaurus rex, but the truth surprises many. It was even larger than the king of dinosaurs that generations of American children have dreamed of. Standing next to the skeleton of a Maposaurus, it is easy to be overwhelmed by its immense size. An adult individual could reach up to 12 meters in length, almost the size of a large city bus, while weighing up to 8 tons, equivalent to a modern heavy-duty truck. Most remarkable is its head, a terrifying masterpiece of nature, with a skull more than 1.8 meters long, large enough for a grown adult to sit inside. Its massive jaws were lined with dagger-sharp teeth, and every bite spelled the end for any creature unfortunate enough to be caught in its sights. But the terror of Maposaurus went beyond its size or its biological weapons. What truly made this dinosaur the stuff of nightmares was its behavior as a pack hunter. Unlike the T-Rex, often depicted as a solitary predator, Maposaurus had an extremely formidable social lifestyle. Their fossils are often found together, indicating that they once teamed up to attack massive prey, even giants like Argentinosaurus, a plant eater weighing up to 100 tons and as tall as a 6-story building. If you can imagine standing under the shadow of a pack of Maposaurus in the ancient South American forests, you can begin to grasp the terror felt by the creatures that once faced them. A troop of huge, agile hunters moving in perfect coordination, surging forward like an unstoppable army. Scientists believe that Maposaurus developed its pack hunting strategy because its contemporary prey, most notably Argentinosaurus, were simply too large and dangerous for any single predator to bring down. When hunting as a group, every member of the pack played a crucial role. The younger ones, with their long, slender legs, moved with the agility of track athletes, chasing and distracting the prey, while the larger adults concentrated on driving, biting, and wearing the animal down until it collapsed from exhaustion. Thanks to this strategy, Maposaurus turned ancient Patagonia into a kingdom of terror, where any animal, no matter how large, could become the feast of this pack of monstrous hunters. Today, though all that remains are fossils lying silently beneath the earth, the story of Maposaurus continues to remind us of a time when power did not belong to the individual, but arose from the flawless cooperation and discipline of the pack. And perhaps, in the history of life on Earth, there has never been another predator that commanded as much respect and fear in the natural world as Maposaurus. Farm frozen in time. Hidden in the northern lands beside the Sea of Galilee in Israel, a small farm from 2,000 years ago has unexpectedly appeared before archaeologists like a gateway into a distant past. Unlike the usual ruins, this place resembles a time capsule, preserved almost perfectly through the millennia. Everything was left behind in a hurry. Yet, the sealed pottery jars, weaving tools, looms, and familiar household items remain, as if the owners had only just stepped out. According to experts, the clearest traces of life here are the looms and tools related to weaving, revealing that the family who once lived here depended heavily on raising sheep and goats for wool and textile production. Yet, that peaceful existence came to a sudden end. When the shadow of war and the Hasmonean army, those who once controlled the Jerusalem region, appeared, the residents of the farm could only grab their most precious belongings and flee, leaving behind everything that had once made up their lives. Archaeologists have discovered not only the remnants of this period, but also the traces of even older communities who lived here 1,000 years before. Each layer of earth, each excavated artifact tells a part of the story of generations who once lived, worked, and hoped for a peaceful life on this fertile land. What makes this discovery truly special is that exploring this forgotten farm is not just a conversation between the modern world and the past, but also a reminder of the fragility of human life in the face of history's great upheavals. Every object, from clay jars and pottery shards to tools of daily labor, lies silently, as if whispering a message about the longing to live on, to return home even if only in the memories of those who come after. The villa in the stone arch. Hidden on the western edge of Bequia Island in the Caribbean Sea, Moonhole Mansion was once the bold dream of an adventurous couple. This mansion is unlike any other structure in the world. Instead of building their home on flat ground, they chose to create their sanctuary within the heart of a massive volcanic stone arch, where the pounding waves crash against the rocky foundation day and night, and the sea breeze rushes through wide-open windows, facing directly toward the ocean. The scenery evokes the feeling of stepping into a secret paradise, where wild nature blends with the creative touch of humanity. Beginning in the late 1950s, Tom and Gladys Johnson left behind the comforts of city life to build Moonhole Mansion with their own hands. They were not professional architects, nor did they have a crew of skilled builders, but their determination and passion turned their dream into reality. The stone walls made the most of the surrounding rock, merging seamlessly with the natural arch stretching out toward the sea, creating a structure that felt both intimate and majestic. However, this daring choice also came with no small amount of risk. The precarious terrain and the ever-present threat of falling rocks, combined with constant erosion from wind and waves, gradually made the mansion increasingly unsafe. After many years of enduring the harsh forces of nature, the Johnson family was ultimately forced to abandon the extraordinary home they had painstakingly created. From then on, Moonhole Mansion became a haunting symbol on the cliffside, closed to the public by local authorities for safety reasons. Today, although no one lives there anymore, Moonhole Mansion still stands as a testament to courage and the limitless spirit of human creativity. The image of the villa bathed in sunset light, with its grand windows looking out over the open sea, continues to inspire a sense of longing for a dream that once shone brightly amid the wild nature of the Caribbean. The abandoned amusement park. Deep within the dense forests on the outskirts of Berlin, Spree Park was once a vibrant symbol of childhood and modern dreams in East Germany. Opened in 1969, the park quickly became a familiar destination for millions of families, a place where children delighted in the giant Ferris wheel, roller coasters, and cheerful music that filled the air for 4 decades. In a time when Berlin was still divided, Spree Park felt like its own separate world, where people could temporarily forget their daily worries and immerse themselves in a festive, carefree atmosphere. However, everything changed when the Berlin Wall fell. Fierce competition from Western amusement parks, combined with financial difficulties, gradually drained the life from Spree Park. In 1991, the park was handed over to a new owner, who invested in more modern rides and brought new hope for revival. Yet behind the sparkling facade was a dark story that few could have imagined. Drug shipments hidden within park equipment, quietly transported from South America to Europe under the guise of amusement materials. After a brief period of development, Spree Park could not withstand the waves of competition and legal troubles. By 2002, the park was forced to close, leaving behind rusting Ferris wheels, collapsed roller coasters, and restaurants overgrown with vines. Cold winds sweep through the abandoned rides, carrying with them echoes of the past, the laughter of children, now only a distant memory. Today, Spree Park has become a strange destination for explorers, photographers, and those who crave the eerie thrill of stepping into a place that was once a paradise but is now shrouded in darkness. Though only ruins remain, every corner here tells the story of a golden age, of ambitions to rise above, of glamour that quickly faded, and, in the end, of mysteries that were never fully resolved. Spree Park, from a childhood heaven to a kingdom of nostalgia, quietly reminds us that all glory may fade, and only memories endure in silence with the passage of time. The Mirror Universe. The mirror universe, a hypothesis both strange and captivating, has intrigued many who ponder the origins and true structure of the world we inhabit. In the journey to unravel the mysteries of the cosmos, scientists have always been drawn to the biggest question. Could there exist, on the other side of reality, a mysterious copy operating by opposite rules, yet forming a perfect pair with our own universe? This is the concept of the mirror universe, a parallel, symmetric universe, moving in the opposite direction of time, where every movement reflects what is happening in our own. The origin of this theory comes from researchers at the Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics in Canada, where they proposed a bold cosmological model. According to this idea, not only did a single universe form from the Big Bang, but at that pivotal moment, the universe split into two symmetric branches, one being the universe we live in, where time flows forward, and a parallel branch where everything moves in reverse, back toward the past. This mirror universe is not only identical to ours in its physical structure, but could also explain a host of phenomena that remain a mystery to this day. Most notably, dark matter, which accounts for up to 85% of the universe's total mass, but is entirely invisible to all modern instruments. If this hypothesis is correct, it would mean that dark matter is actually nothing more than the traces of particles in the mirror universe, appearing in our universe, but locked in a reverse flow of time. This would open a completely new approach to understanding the basic structure of matter, and also force us to re-examine the origins of everything, the boundary between something and nothing, between light and shadow, between the present and the past. The significance of this theory extends far beyond the realm of pure science. For if the mirror universe truly exists, all our familiar concepts of space and time, of existence and the fate of all things, would need to be rewritten. Humanity would be faced with a new truth, that the universe is not a single, isolated entity, but rather one half of a complete pair, forever reflecting and complementing each other, where the flow of time is not always forward, but can also drift endlessly backward into the depths of the past. And so, not only physicists, but anyone who has ever gazed up at the night sky must wonder, could it be that, beyond the veil of the cosmos, another world is unfolding, where everything we know is but a shimmering reflection in the vast cosmic mirror? Leopllodon Konosaurus. Between the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, when ancient oceans stretched across the continents, two undefeated kings of the sea emerged, Leopllodon and Konosaurus. Both belong to the pliosaur group predatory monsters, with 4 powerful flippers and massive bodies, earning their reputation as the apex killers of prehistory. Yet, each species possessed its own unique traits, creating nightmares not only for small creatures, but also for the largest prey that dared to cross their domains. Leopllodon was first discovered in what is now the seas of France, dating back some 165 million years. The rare fossils unearthed by archaeologists have painted the portrait of a predator stretching from 16 to over 20 meters in length, weighing many tons, with a giant head that made up nearly a quarter of its entire body length. Within this enormous head lay immensely strong jaws, lined with razor-sharp teeth that allowed Leopllodon to tear apart large fish, other marine reptiles, and even the juvenile remains of ancient whales. With 4 large flippers and a streamlined body, it could accelerate in an instant, lunging at prey in the cold waters before they even realized what was happening. Scientists believe that speed and power were the weapons that helped Leopllodon maintain its unrivaled position in the oceans for millions of years. But Leopllodon's reign was truly challenged only with the arrival of Konosaurus. Unlike the noble appearance of its European cousin, Konosaurus was the embodiment of raw violence in the warm prehistoric seas of Australia and South America, around 120 million years ago. Fossils suggest Konosaurus reached nearly 12 meters in length and weighed over 10 tons. Its head was especially large and thick, anchored to jaw muscles strong enough to crush the bones of giant sea turtles and even other marine reptiles. In life and death battles, Konosaurus would often surge up from the deep, launching a surprise attack and seizing its target with overwhelming bite force. The deep bite marks found on the fossils of contemporary marine creatures are enduring evidence of the brutal strength wielded by this sea dragon. What set these two giants apart was not just their colossal size or deadly bites, but their remarkable adaptability to harsh environments. Both Leopllodon and Konosaurus were equipped with powerful flipper structures, allowing them to move with agility through dense water, ready to chase and ambush prey in prolonged hunts. This flexibility made them the undisputed masters of the ocean, dominating the food chain for tens of millions of years. Today, the enormous fossil jaws and huge flipper bones, some as large as an adult human arm, continue to amaze paleontologists as they imagine the prehistoric seascape where any creature could become the next meal for these four-flippered lords. Leopllodon and Konosaurus are more than just symbols of power and evolution. They stand as vivid evidence of the golden age of marine reptiles, when the oceans belonged to absolute predators, leaving a deep and lasting imprint on the history of life on Earth. Waitomo Glowworm Caves. Hidden deep underground in the Waikato region, the Waitomo cave system opens up a world entirely unlike anything you've ever known about the wilds of nature. Not only is it home to winding underground rivers and magnificent limestone arches, but it also conceals a miraculous phenomenon, the ethereal blue-green glow of thousands of fungus gnat larvae creatures that the local people call the Waitomo glowworms. When night falls, each glowing silk thread transforms into a suspended galaxy on the cave ceiling, creating a mesmerizing spectacle rarely seen anywhere else on Earth. The journey to explore Waitomo caves is not only a story of human curiosity, but also a testament to nature's creative power over millions of years. The caves were formed from ancient limestone, dating back around 30 million years to a time when this region lay beneath the deep sea. Over ages, rainwater seeped through the stone, gradually dissolving and carving countless tunnels, rock chambers, and underground rivers that interconnect, forming an immense labyrinth that even today scientists have yet to fully map. For the first time, at the end of the 19th century, European explorers entered this mysterious world with the local Maori people, and from then on, Waitomo's allure spread far and wide. The earliest explorations used only torches and wooden rafts, but the deeper visitors ventured, the more overwhelmed they became by scenes that felt like stepping into a miniature universe where the light from thousands of tiny creatures transformed eternal darkness into a vibrant fairy tale garden. More than just enchanting with its mystical beauty, the unique ecosystem of the Waitomo caves has also become a valuable subject of study for scientists. Each glowing worm is a vital part of a naturally balanced life cycle, relying on the cave's darkness and characteristic humidity to survive and thrive. The blend of geological wonder and bioluminescent life has turned Waitomo into one of New Zealand's most fascinating destinations, attracting nature lovers, explorers, and anyone wishing for even a single glimpse of nature's magic, where darkness and light come together to create a miracle that can't be repeated anywhere else on Earth. The fish that can blink. The mudskipper, a unique amphibious fish, has long fascinated scientists not only for its extraordinary half-water, half-land lifestyle, but also for an utterly remarkable evolutionary trait. It is the only fish in the world that can blink. For humans, the act of blinking is second nature, but for fish, such a thing is nearly unthinkable. Yet, the mudskipper possesses this ability, and what's even more intriguing is that it can blink both while swimming underwater and while crawling across muddy banks or weaving through shallow coastal pools. A closer look reveals that the mudskipper's blinking mechanism is entirely different from any other known creature. On land, mudskippers frequently face dry air and dust. Whenever their eyes begin to dry out or get coated in mud, they close them, using a thin layer of skin and mucus to cover and moisten the surface, while also clearing away any debris. This process occurs rhythmically, much like the blinking of land-dwelling vertebrates, but has evolved in complete isolation. Even when they return to the water, mudskippers continue to blink, helping their eyes adjust to the aquatic environment while maintaining a natural protective membrane. What makes this discovery especially significant is its profound evolutionary meaning. Scientists believe that the mudskipper's ability to blink is a living demonstration of the miraculous transition from aquatic to terrestrial life among the ancestors of four-limbed animals. Over hundreds of millions of years, as the first creatures began venturing onto land, one of their greatest challenges was protecting their eyes from dry air and external irritants. The mudskipper has solved this puzzle, acting as a living time machine that offers a glimpse into the era when the earliest fish dared to try their luck in the strange world beyond the water's surface. From what may seem a small discovery, scientists have been able to piece together part of the evolutionary picture of the first land animals where even a single blink could have changed the entire course of life's history. The mudskipper is not just a mysterious, living fossil, but also a key to decoding the most pivotal phase in the transition from fish to four-legged creatures, opening up new insights into adaptation, ingenuity, and the ancient quest to conquer the land. who used to bully T-Rex. For generations, Tyrannosaurus Rex has been imagined as the ultimate symbol of power and fear, the king of the dinosaurs. Yet, new fossil discoveries have painted a very different picture of the T-Rex family's ancient past. Long before it became the unrivaled predator of North America in the late Cretaceous, the ancestors of T-Rex went through periods of being threatened and even overshadowed by other giant hunters. Paleontologists have found that during the era when Carcharodontosaurus and its kin reigned supreme, early tyrannosaurs were relatively weak, forced to hide in dense forests or linger on the fringes of hunting grounds controlled by these meat-eating bosses. Not only was Carcharodontosaurus larger in size, but it also possessed long jaws and serrated teeth sharp enough to bring down any rival of the time. The confrontations between these predators were seen as a relentless race for dominance and survival. More often than not, the ancestors of T-Rex played the role of outsiders, constantly evading the lethal attacks of bigger predators. Fossil evidence suggests that this intense competition drove tyrannosaurs to evolve in both body and hunting skills, so that when the gigantic Carcharodontosaurus and its peers gradually vanished, T-Rex finally rose to dominate its world. The story of who used to bully T-Rex not only changes our view of prehistoric power hierarchies, but also serves as a vivid example of the relentless forces of competition, extinction, and adaptation in nature. Even the creatures that once occupied the lowest rungs, given the right opportunity and evolutionary path, could rise to become immortal icons of an entire era. The giant hand axes from 300,000 years ago in Europe. In the search for traces of our distant ancestors, archaeologists have sometimes encountered mysteries that shake all assumptions about the past. At Porto Mayor in Spain, they uncovered an entire collection of oversized stone axes, crude yet puzzling tools, their dimensions far surpassing any similar artifacts ever found in Europe. These axes were not only nearly twice as long as typical hand axes, but also so heavy that only a giant hand could have wielded them with any agility. What could have led to the creation of such gigantic axes? Modern scientists have proposed a variety of theories. Some believe these were simply tools made for heavy tasks, such as chopping trees, splitting wood, or processing large animal carcasses, jobs that demanded blades of exceptional strength, durability, and striking power. However, the real question that intrigues many is about the true owners of these tools. Could there have once been an ancient race of humans of extraordinary stature, giants, who walked the European continent at the dawn of history? Although this is an appealing idea that easily captures the imagination, most scientists believe the answer lies in the diversity of stone tool-making techniques and choices, rather than serving as evidence for the existence of giants. To truly understand the significance of these giant axes, we need to look back at the evolution of stone tool cultures over hundreds of thousands of years. From the first crude, sharp-edged stones of Homo habilis in Africa over 2.5 million years ago, to the slim, lightweight axes of Neanderthals, and then the more varied tools of Homo sapiens, the craft of stonemaking continuously evolved and adapted to changes in environment, available materials, and daily practices. While stone axes were common, the oversized axes at Porto Mayor remain a rare case in the story of human evolution, a quiet reminder of mysteries still unsolved in our long human journey. These giant stone axes still lie buried in the soil of Spain, quietly evoking a past full of power, challenging every preconception about our ancestors. They are not only witnesses to labor and creativity, but also symbols of the desire to uncover the untold secrets of prehistoric Europe. The missing footprint, skull in Indonesia. Deep within the pristine jungles of Borneo, an archaeological discovery has shaken the entire scientific world. In a vast cave, grand as a cathedral beneath the earth, researchers uncovered the remains of a child estimated to be 31,000 years old. At first glance, this skeleton appeared no different from countless other prehistoric relics found throughout Southeast Asia. But upon closer inspection, scientists were stunned by one extraordinary detail. The child's left foot had been completely amputated, and the marks on the bones showed that this was not the result of an accident or animal attack, but the outcome of a surgical procedure. What made this finding even more remarkable was that the bones had clearly healed, proving that the child survived for at least another 6 to 9 years after the amputation. This is the oldest known surgical operation in human history, predating any previously known case by a staggering 20,000 years. In the harsh conditions of prehistoric times, when humans still lived as hunter-gatherers, successfully performing an amputation would have required not only extraordinary skill, but also an understanding of sterilization, blood control, and post-operative care. This discovery has forced the scientific community to completely rethink what we know about the level of medical knowledge and social organization among prehistoric peoples in Southeast Asia. Just how advanced were the medical skills of these ancient groups who lived more than 30,000 years ago? How were they able to ensure a patient's survival after such a major surgery, in a natural environment filled with danger, disease, and lacking proper tools? And from this, a host of new questions arise. Who carried out the operation? Did this community already have specialized healers, or even an entire social support system devoted to those who were injured or disabled? Furthermore, the discovery of this skeleton opens a new perspective on the compassion, communal bonds, and remarkable adaptability of our ancestors. In a world still ruled by wild nature, these early humans not only fought to survive, but also knew how to care for, protect, and nurture the most vulnerable members of their group. The footprint, or more precisely, the trace of a lost foot, along with the skull buried deep in Borneo's darkness, stands as a vivid testament to the intelligence, resilience, and creativity of prehistoric humans. And to this day, the mystery of the world's oldest surgical operation continues to urge scientists to search for answers about the origins of human knowledge and compassion throughout the journey of our evolution. The Impossible Pyramid in Java, Indonesia. The story of Gunung Padang Hill has ignited an unprecedented wave of debate within the archaeological community and forced the entire world to question what we have always believed to be historical truths. Deep within the lush green valleys of Java, scientists have claimed to discover a structure they believe could redefine everything we know about ancient civilization. According to their findings, this is not a natural hill, but a pyramid hidden beneath layers of earth and stone, existing even before the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. Led by Dr. Danny Hillman, the research team not only declared Gunung Padang to be a pyramid, but also asserted that its age far surpasses any other famous monument. Based on geological surveys and sediment analysis, they suggest that this structure may have existed as far back as 27,000 years ago. If true, Gunung Padang would not only be the oldest pyramid in the world, but also serve as evidence of a civilization that transcends time, existing long before the first stone tools appeared elsewhere on Earth. However, not everyone is ready to accept such a shocking idea. Skeptical experts point out that the structure of Gunung Padang could very well have been formed by long-term weathering processes, with stacked stone blocks potentially being a natural product rather than the work of human hands. Furthermore, most of what the research team has collected consists mainly of soil and rock samples, and they have yet to find any definitive traces of human activity, such as bones, tools, or remnants of habitation. This is precisely why much of the archaeological community remains hesitant to label Gunung Padang as the oldest man-made wonder. Nevertheless, questions continue to arise. Why does a hill take on a terraced shape resembling a pyramid? Why are the rock layers arranged in such clear levels, looking much like the architectural styles of pyramid-building cultures? Some scholars, including researcher Graham Hancock, have proposed a bold theory that Gunung Padang was once a monumental structure, and at some point in the distant past, it was deliberately buried by ancient people. The purpose may have been to protect or preserve it for future generations, similar to how the Maya once hid sacred cities within the jungle, or how the Cholula Pyramid in Mexico lay buried underground for centuries. What is even more remarkable is that soil samples taken from the deepest layers at Gunung Padang return dates almost identical to Dr. Danny Hillman's hypothesis, around 27,000 years old. Even so, this has yet to convince cautious experts, since those soil layers might be the result of natural processes and not necessarily evidence of human activity. There is still a large gap in the evidence, and each answer seems only to raise more questions. So, is Gunung Padang truly the achievement of a lost civilization, or is it simply a wondrous accident of nature? Are we standing on the brink of rediscovering human history, or are we merely inflating a story built from unsolved mysteries? International scientists are still investigating, research remains unfinished, and the world continues to await a final answer to one of the greatest enigmas of the century. Alien carvings and evidence of ancient aliens. Since ancient times, stories of strange beings and unidentified objects have always been intertwined with human history. Along the rock walls of the Val Camonica Valley in northern Italy, haunting petroglyphs dating back to 8000 BC come into view. There, the silhouettes of figures wearing rounded helmets with halos radiating outward like spotlights stand silently among the ancient depictions of prehistoric people. Wandering through the ancient caves of Siberia, one finds bizarre forms, a combination of horns, feathers, and unusual faces, as if these were remnants left behind from a world that did not belong to Earth. What baffles scientists is not just the images themselves, but the pigments used to create them. The sophisticated blending of minerals produced unique colors, far surpassing the crafting skills typical of Stone Age inhabitants. Leaving behind the frigid lands of Siberia for the scorching deserts of Egypt, we encounter yet more intriguing details. On the walls of ancient fortresses, engravings depict objects floating in the sky, beams of light shining down upon pharaohs with strangely elongated heads. Some say these are proof of alien visitations. Others argue they are merely metaphors for the sun, which the Egyptians worshipped as the supreme deity. Among archaeological artifacts, mysterious coins that once circulated widely on social media have also fueled waves of debate. Some coins, reportedly found in Egypt, are engraved with images of UFOs or strange beings with deep black eyes, but so far, there is no concrete evidence to verify their true origins. Most likely, these are the work of modern artists whose imaginations soar even higher than the pyramids. The theory of alien beings does not stop in Africa. It stretches all the way to East Asia. At the Sangxing site, ancient statues with large eyes, pointed ears, and unusual features have led many to think of visitors from outer space. Yet, to archaeologists, these statues are regarded as representations of deities, created from the beliefs and spiritual consciousness of ancient people. While archaeological evidence continues to spark controversy, ancient historical records are no less fascinating. From Roman chronicles to the works of Plutarch, numerous passages describe strange objects, mysterious lights, and even metallic objects hovering among the clouds. Thousands of witnesses claim to have seen these phenomena, and over the centuries, such accounts have inspired many scholars and believers in the ancient aliens hypothesis. Yet, all theories remain matters of debate, for there is no solid evidence convincing enough to sway the entire scientific community. Did our ancestors truly witness something beyond imagination? Or are all these things merely the products of a rich imagination and enduring belief in mythology? That question remains unanswered, lingering just like the mysterious figures once etched onto stone walls thousands of years ago. A new species of human. Amid the dense mountains and pristine caves of Luzon Island in the Philippines, an archaeological discovery has shaken the modern scientific world. Deep within Castello Cave, researchers uncovered fragments of hand and foot bones, along with fossilized teeth, the last traces of an entirely new species of ancient human. Though these bone fragments are small, they have opened up an entirely new chapter in the story of human evolution, revealing a branch of our family tree that once existed alongside us, still shrouded in unanswered mysteries. Careful examination showed that the owners of these remains stood only about 90 centimeters tall, much smaller than any known human species previously discovered. They were not the direct ancestors of modern humans, but rather a distant cousin on the evolutionary tree, a separate branch that split from humanity's main line tens of thousands of years ago. Their existence stands as evidence of the remarkable diversity within the human family, distinct evolutionary paths that nature explored, sometimes surviving only in the most remote and isolated corners of the world. What is especially remarkable is that this tiny human species seems to have lived exclusively within Luzon Island, never leaving the harsh environment they had adapted to over countless generations. This isolation helped them survive for a time, but it also doomed them to extinction when they could not withstand the dramatic changes of nature. Today, all that remains are fossilized bones, silent witnesses to a lineage that once lived, walked, hunted, and survived in the shadows of Castello Cave. This discovery not only enriches our picture of human evolution, but also raises a series of new questions. How many other human branches have appeared and disappeared on this planet? How many secrets about our origins and humanity's diverse development still lie hidden in distant lands and deep caves? Each artifact found is a precious link, sparking curiosity and passion for the never-ending journey of human exploration on Earth. The mystery of the intact ancient human brain. Throughout the course of archaeological excavations around the world, nothing has puzzled scientists more than the discovery of ancient human brains that have remained perfectly intact for thousands of years, even as all other soft tissues have vanished into the earth. This is not an isolated phenomenon, but rather one that appears sporadically across a wide range of cultures, from Spain to the Andes mountains of Peru, from ancient Egyptian mummies to the muddy graves of Stone Age Sweden. Leading the journey to unravel this mystery is Dr. Alexandra Morton Hayward and her team of scientists at Oxford University. After years of painstaking research and fieldwork, they have documented more than 4,400 cases of nearly intact ancient human brains, a number that far exceeds previous expectations. Even more astonishing, in many of these cases, the brain is the only remaining soft tissue, while the lungs, heart, intestines, and even muscle fibers have completely decomposed, leaving behind nothing but bare bones. This has upended the long-held belief that the brain is one of the first organs to deteriorate after death. Intact brains have not only been found in mass graves in Spain, but also inside the skulls of sacrificial victims atop Peruvian volcanoes and beneath layers of peat in Sweden, such as the famous Tolland man, whose brain retained its form after more than 2 millennia. The central question remains: why does only the brain survive so enduringly? Some theories suggest that proteins and sugars within the brain may react with minerals in the soil, especially metals like copper or iron, creating chemical reactions that stabilize the brain's structure. Environmental factors such as humidity, temperature, or the unique properties of the soil itself might also play a decisive role. Still, up to now, every effort to explain the phenomenon remains hypothetical. No one knows the exact mechanism that has allowed these brains to withstand the erasing power of time and nature. The deeper they explore, the more scientists realize that the human brain is not only the command center of life's activities, but also harbors countless biological mysteries that remain unsolved. Although it once carried the memories of an entire lifetime and endured thousands of years underground, the ancient brain remains perfectly silent, defying all human attempts to understand ourselves. This may well be nature's greatest mystery, a secret still waiting to be discovered somewhere within the ceaseless flow of history and time. The sharp-toothed snail. Deep within the shadowy caves of the Cantabrian Mountains in Spain, scientists have made a discovery that has astonished the global research community. It is the emergence of a completely new species of snail, not only representing an entirely new genus in the natural world, but also possessing such a strange appearance that it seems to have stepped right out of the pages of a fantasy tale. When the first beams of flashlight swept across the cold, damp mud at the bottom of the cave, researchers noticed faint, glimmering trails on the rocky ground. These were not ordinary pebbles, but shimmering, transparent snail shells. Inside those fragile casings, the snail revealed its remarkable form. Its mouth bore 2 long, sharp teeth, as pointed as the fangs of a vampire. Yet, interestingly, these teeth are not used for attacking or defense, but serve as specialized tools that allow the snail to rake through the soft mud beneath the cave floor, sucking up tiny food particles that most other creatures could never access. The transparent shell is another unique adaptation, allowing the snail to blend seamlessly into its surroundings, evade predators, and make the most of the faint, rare light that filters into the cave. The discovery of this sharp-toothed snail stands as vivid proof of nature's boundless creativity. Each new creature unearthed beneath the earth adds another chapter to humanity's understanding of evolution and adaptation of life's relentless journey, even in places where only darkness and silence were thought to reign. The first hybrid animal in human history. In an ancient tomb in northern Syria, archaeologists have just uncovered a mystery that had been forgotten for millennia: the remains of an animal known as the kunga. Around 4,500 years ago, during the era when ancient kingdoms of Mesopotamia were vying for supremacy, the kunga appeared on the war chariots that thundered into battle and played a role in the grand ceremonies of royal courts. Yet for centuries, historians had little idea what the kunga actually was, with only vague descriptions surviving in ancient reliefs and written records. It was only when researchers analyzed the skeletons unearthed from the royal burial complex of el-Mara that the mystery began to unravel. They discovered that the kunga was a unique hybrid created by crossbreeding a domesticated female donkey with a now extinct Syrian wild ass. This was not the result of random chance, but the outcome of intentional breeding techniques and human understanding. It stands as a testament to the remarkable creativity and technological skill of the Bronze Age. Under human guidance, the Kunga possessed physical traits far superior to either domesticated donkeys or wild asses. They were strong, resilient, and considered ideal animals for pulling war chariots, serving both as symbols of royal power and as a source of military might for the ancient kingdoms. The Kunga's existence is also the earliest known evidence of an artificial animal hybrid in history, predating the appearance of mules, horses, or any of the more familiar hybrids known today. Beyond its biological significance, the Kunga also reflects humanity's ancient ambition to conquer and reshape nature. For the kings of antiquity, owning chariots drawn by Kungas was not just a display of power and wealth, but a demonstration of their civilization's ability to harness and control the natural world through advanced techniques. As the wheels of chariots rolled across the Mesopotamian earth behind the hooves of Kungas, human history marked a turning point, the moment when people first learned how to alter animal species to serve great ambitions, laying the foundation for the long journey of animal hybridization that continues to this day. The arrival of the Kunga not only transformed how people fought and traveled, but also reminds us of the limitless creativity that runs deep through the history of humankind. The Monster Cave. Hidden deep beneath the ground in Romania, Morai Cave has been completely isolated from the outside world for 5 million years, like a time capsule preserving the secrets of prehistory. It was not until 1986 that humans accidentally stumbled upon the entrance to this underground realm. From the very first step scientists took inside, it was clear they had entered a habitat utterly foreign, where the usual rules of evolution had been upended by the absolute harshness of darkness and toxicity. The air inside the cave is thick, humid, and so suffocating that humans cannot survive without specialized protective gear. No ray of sunlight has ever reached this place. All life forms have been forced to adapt in order to survive in eternal darkness and toxic conditions. Thanks to this extreme environment, Morai Cave has become the world's only home to dozens of strange creatures that humanity had never known before. Scientists have recorded a total of 48 species living in the cave, 33 of which exist nowhere else on Earth but Morai. Among the most remarkable are spiders, scorpions, and centipedes whose forms can send chills down anyone's spine. They are eyeless, with bodies that are almost transparent, shimmering white or pale pink, and their bodies are adorned with long, slender feelers, perfectly adapted to navigating in complete darkness. Each creature has evolved bizarre features to cope with the lack of light, toxic air, and extremely high humidity, turning this cave into a vibrant oasis of ancient life that time itself seemed to have forgotten. Every step taken into Morai Cave is a journey back to the distant past of our planet, to a place where life has evolved down a completely different path. Here, all the rules change, every condition is extreme, and only the most resilient life forms can endure. That is why this cave is not just a natural wonder, but also a key to understanding the extraordinary power of life to adapt in the face of seemingly impossible challenges. Cosmic rays reveal secrets of ancient Greece. Beneath the heart of modern-day Naples, Italy, mysteries buried by time for over 2,500 years are slowly being unveiled thanks to the triumphs of modern science. Rather than digging or breaking apart the city's ancient streets, scientists chose a radically different approach using muons, special particles created by cosmic rays that flood Earth's atmosphere. These muons can pass through dense matter and carry traces of whatever they encounter on their journey. With advanced detectors and non-invasive scanning technology, researchers have been able to read the complex strata lying deep beneath Naples' bustling streets. Not only did they identify the remains of an ancient settlement, but they also discovered a series of underground structures, including tombs and even an entire buried city without ever disturbing the ground above. The most remarkable find among these is the early Christian catacombs, where followers of the faith once quietly buried their loved ones underground to escape persecution by the Roman authorities. These tombs are not only vivid evidence of the early spread of Christianity, but they also offer a rare window into the spiritual life, beliefs, and fears of people from long ago. These discoveries are gradually bringing to life the image of Naples in its earliest days, back when the city was known as Neapolis, the Greek city of antiquity. The roads, squares, temples, and once bustling markets still lie silent beneath layers of earth and stone, waiting for the day they are fully revealed. Thanks to the combination of science and perseverance, the historical tapestry of Naples is being completed piece by piece, carrying us back to a distant past where every corner holds an untold story. The secret necropolis beneath Paris. Amid the bustling rhythm of glamorous Paris, where subway trains constantly shuttle people back and forth, there is a secret that has lain dormant for nearly 2 millennia, waiting for the day it would be awakened. It all began in the 1970s, when construction workers were building a new metro station in the Saint-Jacques neighborhood. As drilling machines tirelessly bored into the ground, an unexpected discovery brought the entire site to a standstill. A long-forgotten ancient cemetery, or necropolis, quietly emerged from beneath layers of earth and stone, revealing more than 50 remarkably well-preserved tombs dating back to the 2nd century AD. The tombs lay side by side, each resting place silently, holding the untold stories of generations who once lived on this land, back when Paris was still known as Lutetia. As archaeologists gently uncovered each grave, they found that many of the skeletons still lay in a dignified position, and in several tombs, a small coin was placed in the mouth of the deceased. This was the coin for the soul's journey, a tradition that originated in ancient Greece and Rome, meant as payment to Charon, the ferryman, to cross the river Styx and guide the soul to the afterlife. Those tiny coins, seemingly simple tokens, speak to us of faith, of the hope to transcend the boundary between life and death, and of the unending journey of the human soul. The discovery of this secret necropolis has opened an entirely new chapter in the history of Lutetia, the ancient city that would one day become modern Paris. The artifacts found here help historians better understand the daily life, customs, and beliefs of the Gallo-Roman residents, how they faced death, and the enduring human values that stretch through the centuries. This cemetery does more than hold ashes and bones. It is a gathering place for memory, longing, and love left behind by countless generations. Amid the unceasing flow of modern Paris, the underground necropolis quietly reminds us of our deep roots, of stories yet untold from the city once called Lutetia, where past and present are interwoven and blended in the silent corners beneath the marble of the French capital. Gruesome burials in ancient Egypt. Amid the western desert of Egypt, at the ancient cemetery of El Bagawat, archaeologists once opened a tomb that had lain buried beneath more than 1,500 years of history. Inside, they found the mummy of a young girl, just 17 years old, who died while pregnant. Records from the initial excavation in 1908 describe how she was buried in a layer of white salt to better preserve her body, with her hands placed close to her sides and her legs tightly wrapped in coarse linen, reflecting the careful attention to ritual that defined ancient Egyptian funerary customs. Yet the true shock of this story would only be revealed by modern technology. When the research team used CT scanning to examine the mummy, they uncovered a rare and haunting scene. One fetal head still lodged in the mother's birth canal, and a second fetus resting deep within her chest cavity. Scientists believe that the girl may have been carrying twins without knowing it, and that her death came suddenly during a dangerous obstetric complication. After she died, one fetus remained trapped, while the other moved into the chest cavity through natural decomposition, a medical phenomenon so rare it occurs in only 0.14 out of every 10,000 births. What is especially remarkable about this case is that, although ancient Egyptian medicine was famously advanced, childbirth was not viewed as a medical event, but rather as a sacred ritual tied to local deities and religious beliefs. As a result, few ancient records remain that describe special births or the tragic outcomes of childbirth during that era. Beneath the wrappings of the mummy, behind the tranquil appearance of the young girl, lies a painful mystery of human fate, one that also offers a new perspective on the spiritual life and religious traditions of a civilization once considered among the most extraordinary in the ancient world. This discovery not only brings to light hidden facets of Egyptian society, but also underscores the truth that, no matter how advanced, people of the past still lived with deep fears and enduring faith when faced with the fragile boundary between life and death. The scientific mysteries of sound. If there is one invisible force capable of stirring our hearts, guiding our emotions, and quietly influencing our bodies every single day, it is sound. From the song that moves you on a lonely night to the energizing melodies of a bright morning, sound weaves its way into every corner of our lives, not just as an art form, but as a mysterious power that shapes both our emotions and the inner workings of our biology. Researchers have discovered that music and certain sound frequencies do far more than simply make us happy, sad, or nostalgic. They can actually affect the biological rhythms of the human body. Our heart rate, breathing, and even brain waves can synchronize with the rhythm of music through a phenomenon known as entrainment. For example, steady, repetitive melodies have been shown to slow the heartbeat and induce relaxation, while fast, driving rhythms can boost excitement and raise energy levels throughout the body. But recent discoveries have opened an even more extraordinary door. Certain sound frequencies may have a direct effect on human DNA itself. In experiments with the frequency of 528 Hz, scientists have observed the recovery and repair of damaged DNA strands, along with positive changes in both physical and mental health. It's not just music. Ancient Buddhist chants and Gregorian hymns have also been found to produce powerful effects on cellular structures, enhancing healing, reducing stress, and elevating states of consciousness. This raises an intriguing question. Could sound one day become a powerful tool for therapy, helping us heal wounds that traditional medicine cannot yet touch? From improving mood, easing anxiety, and boosting productivity, to the possibility of correcting genetic errors, sound is steadily proving that it is more than art. It is a bridge between science and life itself. As we continue to explore the mysteries of sound's hidden power, perhaps someday, music and frequency will not only heal the soul, but also transform life at the cellular level, ushering in a new era where art and medicine work in harmony, creating miracles for the health and future of humanity. The mystery of the skeleton in boots, London's forgotten riverbank. In the heart of modern London, archaeologists made a startling discovery. A human skeleton, face down in the deep mud along the banks of the Thames, still wearing a pair of tall leather boots dating back to the 15th century. These boots are not only a rare artifact from the distant past, but they have also become a vital clue in unraveling the mysterious fate of this unfortunate individual. Based on the position and condition of the remains, scientists believe this may have been a poor laborer who struggled to make a living by the river. He could have been a fisherman, a sailor, or perhaps a mudlark, one of those souls who wandered the Thames' muddy banks searching for anything of value that the river might reveal. The skeleton's face-down posture, with arms outstretched as if desperately trying to escape the thick, suffocating mud, paints a tragic picture. It is entirely possible that this man became trapped in the mire, unable to free himself before the rising tide swept over him. What's especially remarkable is that the leather boots remained perfectly intact on the skeleton's feet. At that time, leather boots were a prized possession, rarely buried with the dead. This detail supports the theory that the man did not receive a proper burial, but instead died suddenly, his fate unknown to those around him. Over the centuries, the river mud both preserved his remains and kept the sorrowful story hidden from the world. This strange discovery does more than shed light on the hardships of the urban poor in old London. It invites us to pause and reflect on the countless lives that have quietly passed through history, their stories largely forgotten. While this may be just one somber ending among many lost tales, the skeleton and its weathered boots stand as a haunting reminder of the mysteries the past still holds and of the silent voices waiting to be heard beneath the city's busy streets. The 500-year-old lost relic. In the quiet heart of Kalmar, a coastal Swedish city that was once the thriving center of Scandinavia, archaeologists made a discovery that stirs deep emotions for a distant past. While excavating layers of earth long buried beneath the old town, they happened upon a small object that holds within it an entire story of fate and human memory, a finely crafted gold ring engraved with the image of Jesus, still gleaming after more than 500 years entombed in the cold ground. The ring dates back to the 15th century, a time when Kalmar was a crossroads for merchants, nobles, and priests. Lifting it from the damp soil, the archaeologists could not help but imagine the hand that once wore it, perhaps a wealthy woman or a member of the clergy, someone who cherished this piece as a talisman during an era marked by uncertainty and upheaval. No one knows exactly what happened. Was the ring lost in the bustle of a crowded marketplace, or abandoned in panic as the city was engulfed by the Great Fire of the 17th century? The fierce blaze of 1611 reduced Kalmar to ashes, erasing ancient homes and the memories of its people, leaving behind only layers of ruins, waiting to be unearthed and retold. Today, Kalmar is not just a picturesque destination, but a vital archaeological treasure trove that helps reconstruct life in medieval Sweden. Mossy cobblestone streets, ancient city walls, and shadowy cellars hold countless relics from pottery, weapons, and everyday utensils to lost treasures like this golden ring, all painting a vivid picture of a bygone era. Each artifact allows archaeologists to slowly unravel the small but meaningful stories of love, faith, and aspiration that once filled the lives of those who called the North their home. The gold ring, engraved with the image of Jesus, is more than a precious ornament. It is a silent witness to history, an invisible thread binding together the worlds of the past and present. It reminds us that no matter how time may erase the traces of those who came before, the spiritual values, beliefs, and love of humanity still echo beneath the earth, waiting to be uncovered, cherished, and told anew for generations to come. The 1,000-year-old woman buried in a canoe in Argentina. Amid the wild, windswept landscapes of southern Argentina, archaeologists have uncovered an ancient grave dating back more than a millennium. Inside, they found the remains of a young woman, estimated to be between 17 and 25 years old. What makes this discovery truly remarkable is that she was buried inside a long wooden canoe with a finely crafted ceramic vessel placed near her head, all belonging to the vibrant Mapuche culture that flourished in this region over 2,000 years ago. The practice of canoe burials was traditionally reserved for Mapuche men, a reflection of the community's deep belief in the journey across the river that connects the world of the living to the afterlife. The presence of a canoe grave for a woman is exceptionally rare and has raised new questions about this young woman's status and role within her ancient society. Perhaps she held a special position or came from a noble family and was therefore honored with the same solemn rite of passage to the next world that was usually reserved for men. A closer examination of her remains and the grave goods dates the burial to around the year 1142 AD, a time when the Mapuche culture was at its height, long before conquest and colonization weakened their society. The Mapuche are one of the oldest indigenous communities in the Americas, with a history spanning more than 2,000 years and a territory that once stretched across vast parts of what is now Argentina and Chile. Though they later suffered devastation and genocide during the conflicts of the 19th century, many ancient traditions and beliefs have survived to this day. The canoe grave of this young woman not only sheds light on the customs and spiritual life of the Mapuche, but also evokes the golden yet tragic era of a once great native civilization in South America. Each time the decaying planks of a wooden canoe are unearthed from the earth, history is illuminated once more, bringing back stories both distant and intimate threads in the endless current of human memory. The mysterious Macahuasi Plateau of Peru. Hidden high in the soaring Andes at an altitude of over 4,000 meters, the Macahuasi Plateau is far more than just a windswept expanse of barren rock. For lovers of the unknown, it is an open-air museum of unanswered questions, a place where time itself seems to have stopped, quietly concealing the most ancient memories of humanity. Amid swirling white clouds and thin, frigid air, the ancient granite stones of Macahuasi appear in bizarre and enigmatic shapes. Many of these rocks are so strangely formed that it's hard to believe they are simply the result of natural weathering. Some stones evoke the visage of a giant's face, gazing thoughtfully toward the horizon. Others resemble animals, birds, or are even compared to ancient religious icons from lost civilizations. Alongside these stone figures are mysterious tombs and pre-Columbian ruins, now crumbled by the passage of thousands of years. Many of the graves are so tiny, with entrances just large enough for an adult to crawl through, prompting archaeologists to wonder whether this was once home to a community of unusually small people. There are even bold theories suggesting that Macahuasi may have been a gathering place for miniature beings, or a point of contact between humanity and extraterrestrial visitors, those strange guests who may have passed through Earth millennia ago. Yet the plateau holds more than enigmatic statues and ancient graves. Macahuasi conceals countless unsolved relics, from small stone structures to winding ancient trails that snake through the forests and mountains. Many believe that this land is a convergence point for mysterious energies, a former center for sacred rituals, or a bridge connecting civilizations that surpass our wildest imagination. After decades of study, Macahuasi remains an enigma, challenging both scientists and adventurers alike. Whether the product of nature's wonder or the remnants of a lost civilization, this place continues to inspire all who long to uncover humanity's greatest mysteries. And perhaps, somewhere within the misty Andes, Macahuasi is still waiting for someone patient and brave enough to finally lift the last veil on its secrets. The ancient kingdom of Yan in Beijing, China. Deep beneath the ancient soil of today's Fangshan district in Beijing, Chinese archaeologists have uncovered a site dating back 3,000 years. This land was once the magnificent capital of the Yan Kingdom during the Western Zhou dynasty, a pivotal period marking the dawn of urban civilization in northern China. Recent excavations have brought to light a wealth of priceless artifacts, from royal tombs to remnants of ancient residential quarters. Each new discovery helps scientists trace the origins of Beijing, a city that once rose out of wild and untamed forests. Beneath the ground, experts have found large, elaborately constructed tombs belonging to the aristocracy of ancient Yan. Alongside these were exquisitely crafted relics, bronze vessels, ivory carvings, silk fabrics, and shards of ancient pottery that reveal a highly developed tradition of craftsmanship. The ornate bronze urns, intricately carved ivory, and silk pieces still bearing delicate patterns all paint a vivid portrait of the opulent lives led by the elite. But these finds are more than just evidence of an old civilization. They offer a glimpse into the complex social and religious structures of the time. Archaeologists observed clear separations between residential areas, ceremonial buildings, and royal mausoleums, all interconnected in a carefully organized ancient urban complex. The discovery of encircling city walls and overlapping layers of architecture demonstrates that Beijing was not only the political heart of the Yan Kingdom, but also the very cradle of China's earliest great cities. Artifacts such as bronze, silk, and ivory provide further proof of trade between Yan and other regional cultures. Many objects originated far from the site, brought along ancient trade routes, offering compelling evidence of widespread connections across East Asia thousands of years ago. These clues are gradually redrawing the developmental journey of Beijing, revealing a glorious and mysterious past yet to be fully understood. While many questions remain unanswered, the discoveries at this archaeological site are bringing researchers closer to solving the great mysteries of Beijing's origins. They also reveal the enduring vitality and resilience of a culture that has lasted for 3 millennia. The story of the ancient Yan Kingdom is not only a treasured memory for China, but also a reminder of the power of time and of the lasting values that have shaped the world's great cities today. Did prehistoric humans reach the Americas by boat? For decades, the story of America's earliest ancestors seemed set in stone. They crossed a natural ice bridge from Siberia to Alaska, then slowly made their way south along frozen valleys, gradually opening up a new continent. Yet, in recent years, archaeological finds along the North American coastline have begun to shake the very foundations of that traditional theory. Scattered along rugged coastal regions, scientists have uncovered a series of ancient sites buried deep beneath earth and stone near the sea, some still holding traces of ancient hearths, animal bones, and remarkably crafted stone tools. Many of these coastal sites date back more than 13,000 years, even older than the inland sites, once considered the earliest evidence of humans in the Americas. These findings suggest that our ancestors may have appeared along the coastline far earlier than textbooks ever claimed. This evidence has given rise to a bold but compelling new hypothesis, that prehistoric people may have crossed the ocean by primitive boats, traveling along the Pacific Rim from East Asia to North America, rather than simply walking across the frigid Bering Land Bridge. They may have used simple wooden vessels, following ocean currents and relying on coastal resources, shellfish, fish, and seaweed, to survive journeys that could have spanned generations. If this theory is correct, the story of human migration will have to be rewritten, for it would prove that prehistoric people possessed not only the knowledge of seafaring, but also the ability to build boats and master survival at sea, far beyond what we once imagined of our earliest ancestors. This revelation changes not just our view of ancient human skills, but also opens up a host of new questions. How many traces remain buried beneath the ocean floor? How many untold stories lie hidden about ocean voyages that gave birth to new civilizations in the New World? Archaeological evidence from the coast continues to surface, challenging the imagination of scientists and spurring us to seek out the last traces of those first explorers who conquered both the ocean and fate itself. The journey they made may well be more extraordinary than any legend humanity has ever told about its own beginnings. The Roman shipwreck off the coast of Brazil. Amid the rolling waves of Brazil's coastline, a strange story has quietly stirred the worlds of archaeology and global history. It all began in 1984, when an American archaeologist named Robert Marks claimed to have discovered the wreck of an ancient ship resting on the ocean floor, just off the coast of Brazil. What was truly shocking, however, was his assertion this could be the remains of a Roman ship dating back more than 1,700 years. If true, this discovery would completely upend everything we thought we knew about the history of the New World. To this day, mainstream history holds that the Portuguese, led by explorer Pedro Álvares Cabral, were the first to set foot on Brazilian soil in 1500. But if a Roman vessel reached the shores of South America over a millennium earlier, the story of migration, trade, and contact between civilizations would need to be rewritten from the ground up. Yet the truth about the shipwreck has never been brought clearly to light. After news of the find leaked, the Brazilian government immediately imposed a ban on all underwater archaeological exploration in the area. Not only that, Robert Marks was banned from returning to Brazil, and he claimed that the authorities had dispatched Navy ships to cover the wreck site with a thick layer of sand, erasing evidence in order to protect national pride and preserve Portugal's place in history. Debate, suspicion, and conspiracy theories have swirled around the mysterious shipwreck ever since. Was this truly evidence of an extraordinary Roman voyage, or simply the result of misunderstanding or even deliberate concealment? The answer, even now, lies hidden beneath the waves, where the passage of time and the currents of political power work together to keep its secrets. And so, the mystery of the Roman shipwreck off Brazil has become one of those tales that continue to fascinate not only scholars, but also anyone with a passion for discovery, those who hope that one day, history will be revealed in a completely new light. Midnight Terror Cave. As night fell over the peaceful countryside of western Belize on a warm evening in 2006, the stillness was suddenly shattered by cries for help echoing through the darkness. A Mennonite farmer, long accustomed to the serenity of this land, was startled by strange sounds in the distance. They were the desperate pleas of an unlucky looter who, while recklessly searching for ancient treasure, had stumbled into a deep cave and become so badly injured that he could not escape on his own. Little did anyone know that this ill-fated adventure would inadvertently open the door to one of the most chilling discoveries ever made about the ancient Maya civilization. The man did not find the gold or precious stones he had hoped for. Instead, he wandered into a different kind of treasure, a mass grave, with countless human bones and skulls scattered across the cold stone floor. By the dim beam of a flashlight, the skulls of children lay side by side, silent witnesses to a mysterious ritual that had taken place 1,000 years before. 2 years after this event, an archaeological team led by Professor James Brady from California entered the cave to unravel the secrets hidden deep within. They named the site Midnight Terror Cave, a name that captures both the bone-chilling atmosphere and the haunting sense of what had occurred there. The initial discoveries left the team stunned. On the cave floor lay more than 10,000 human bone fragments, the majority belonging to children between the ages of 6 and 14 young souls once chosen as offerings in sacred Maya ceremonies. Yet, despite years of excavation and research, scientists have still not been able to explain why this particular cave became the center of such horrific sacrificial rituals. The ancient Maya left no written records explaining the true purpose behind the ceremonies that took place in the darkness of Midnight Terror Cave. The silent bones remain, posing a question that has yet to be answered, a haunting reminder of a tragic and enigmatic chapter in the history of humankind. The secret Condor Chamber. In the rugged highlands of Peru, where endless arid hills stretch toward the horizon and time seems to stand still, archaeologists have uncovered one of the most mysterious tunnels ever constructed by ancient humans. The Condor Chamber, buried deep beneath the ruins of Chavin de Huantar, is a remnant of the once glorious Chavin civilization that thrived 3,000 years ago. The stone ruins here may seem lost amid the silent landscape, but beneath the surface lies a story that has been buried for millennia. At the height of its power, around 900 BC, Chavin de Huantar was the religious and political center of the Chavin people, a place where enigmatic rituals took place among stone temples and sacred statues. The Condor Chamber was built directly beneath the main temple, but over centuries, its structure suffered from earthquakes, landslides, and the relentless effects of time. The tunnel collapsed, and its entrance was completely sealed under thick layers of earth and rock. For centuries, no one even knew of its existence, until modern archaeologists first noticed unusual patterns in the ancient stonework. Unlike most excavations, this time scientists had to rely on cutting-edge technology, sending small camera-equipped robots through narrow gaps in the debris. No one could predict what might await them behind 3,000 years of silence and stone. When the camera's light pierced the furthest reaches of the dark tunnel, everyone held their breath as each detail slowly emerged on the screen. Before them was a space untouched by time, where everything seemed frozen since the heyday of the Shavin. What astonished them most was a striking artifact at the chamber's center, a large ceramic jar weighing nearly 18 kilograms, coated in the dust of ages but still preserving every intricate detail. Carved in relief on the vessel's surface was the head of a condor, its piercing eyes, proud curved beak, and wings poised as if ready to take flight. The condor's supreme symbol of power and divinity was woven into the Shavin belief in the ability to bridge the human and spiritual worlds. For the indigenous peoples, the condor was not only the largest bird in the Andes, but also the messenger of the heavens, a symbol of strength, freedom, and mystical protection. The discovery of this massive ceramic jar in the underground chamber has raised many questions for researchers. Why would the Shavin hide such a sacred object in a place so deep, isolated, and dark for thousands of years? It may have played a role in vital sacrificial rituals or served as a vessel for prayers for peace and prosperity. It is also possible that the Condor Chamber was a sanctuary for the highest religious secrets, accessible only to the most senior priests. Even though the artifact and the tunnel have been brought to light, much of their true meaning remains elusive. Today, the Condor Chamber stands as living proof of the Chavin's architectural genius, craftsmanship, and spiritual depth, a culture that once ruled the Andean heights and left behind not only artifacts, but also a legacy of yearning to touch the divine and unravel the eternal mysteries of humankind. The ancient Scottish treasure hoard. Across the wind-swept grey fields of the Scottish Highlands, there are stories that only the land and the deep peat remember in full. In 1838, during the era of industrialization, as laborers tirelessly dug and turned the soil to make way for new farmland, an unexpected discovery shook the peace of this quiet countryside. The blades of their shovels struck the glittering silver of the past. A Roman treasure hoard revealed itself in this remote land, where only the wind and tales of ancient tribes had lingered for centuries. Yet that stroke of fortune was short-lived. In the struggle of daily life, the workers had little choice but to quickly hide or sell off the valuable items they found. When the fields were plowed again for planting, the hoard was once more buried beneath the earth, leaving behind only 3 keepsakes. The rest vanished into the fading currents of time. No one could recall exactly how many treasures had once surfaced here, and no one could have imagined that this mystery would remain unsolved for nearly 200 more years. It wasn't until archaeologists from the University of Aberdeen resolved to return to that same piece of land that a new chapter unfolded for the famed Roman hoard. They launched their excavation fueled by a faint hope, relying only on faint records of the original location and the villagers' whispered stories. One by one, patient hands and careful shovels peeled back the soil in search of the past. This time, history opened its doors. More than 100 precious silver objects emerged under the cold Scottish sun. Ancient coins bearing the faces of emperors, twisting bracelets, jewelry, fragments of bowls, spoons, and intricately wrought belt buckles, each one stamped by Roman hands more than 1,500 years ago. Strangely, among the shining relics of that great empire, the archaeologists also discovered the remains of 2 enormous ancient stone circles lying silently in the field. One dated to the Neolithic era, the other to the Bronze Age, both far older than the newly uncovered Roman hoard. The interwoven presence of so many cultures in the layered earth turned this field into a miniature tapestry of Scotland's history, a place where ancient tribes, warriors, and Roman traders once lived, mingled, clashed, and left their quiet marks for future generations. The Scottish Silver Hoard is far more than a sparkling collection of treasures. It is living proof of the turbulence at the end of the Roman Empire, when wealth and power intertwined with chaos and collapse. At the same time, it is a reminder of the endless intersections of the ages, where each layer of earth holds a secret, and every new discovery extends the story of those who walked beneath the northern skies and left their shadows for us to find. Mammoth Cave. Nestled among the rolling hills of Kentucky, Mammoth Cave has long stood as a symbol of grandeur and mystery at the heart of America. With a network of passageways stretching over 600 miles, This cave system not only holds the title of the world's longest cave, but also forms a colossal labyrinth of more than 200 interconnected chambers, like an underground city sculpted by nature over millions of years. The history of Mammoth Cave is intertwined with the earliest footsteps of Native Americans some 5,000 years ago. They quickly recognized the cave's mystical allure and its value, using the deep recesses as burial grounds for their loved ones. Thanks to the stable climate and the cool, dry air flowing through its many branches, numerous ancient mummies have been astonishingly well preserved for millennia, serving as vivid witnesses to the spiritual life and beliefs of those early people. Through the centuries, Mammoth Cave has continued to inspire awe and curiosity in the hearts of modern explorers. Adventurers and scientists have spent years mapping its shadowy corridors, uncovering countless geological, biological, and historical mysteries. Yet, even when it seemed that every corner had been explored, Mammoth Cave still found ways to surprise. Recently, archaeologists discovered another 8 miles of previously uncharted tunnels, opening new doors to stories still buried in darkness. Walking through the depths of Mammoth Cave, one cannot help but be amazed by the complexity and sheer scale of this subterranean world. Every passageway and stone chamber holds secrets waiting to be revealed, whether they are ancient artifacts, underground rivers, or unique creatures that exist only in the dark. More than just a natural wonder, Mammoth Cave is a living chronicle of the connection between people and the earth, a treasury of mysteries that has never ceased to fascinate those with a thirst for discovery. The world's deepest blue hole in Mexico. Hidden beneath the turquoise waters off the coast of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, the Tamja Blue Hole, TJ, has just set an astonishing new record. It is now known as the deepest underwater sinkhole ever measured by humans, plunging to a minimum depth of 1,380 feet, the height of a skyscraper. Yet what excites scientists is not only this staggering number. Even with the most advanced equipment available, researchers have not yet reached the true bottom of this blue hole. Below remains a vast, uncharted darkness, full of challenges where all devices meet their limits and secrets still refuse to reveal themselves. Unlike other famous blue holes around the world, TJ is far more than just a deep pit. Measurements show that it contains multiple layers of water with dramatic shifts in temperature and salinity, leading geologists to suspect the presence of a complex network of underwater caves connecting the blue hole to the vast ocean beyond. If this hypothesis proves correct, TJ could be a gateway to a strange underground ecosystem, one where sunlight cannot reach and mysterious creatures may still dwell, unchanged since prehistoric times. TJ is not only a magnet for scientists, it has also captivated explorers and adventure seekers who feel as if they're standing on the edge of a true science fiction journey. Every dive into its depths brings the humbling sensation of confronting nature's immensity, a place where everything seems to surpass human understanding. The bottom of the hole remains an unsolved riddle, and no one can guess what awaits below. Is it a fantastical limestone labyrinth, a legacy of millions of years of geologic upheaval, or perhaps the hiding place of bizarre life forms never before seen in any scientific record? The discoveries at TJ open a new chapter on the world's geological map, reminding us that beneath the blue expanse of our planet's waters, countless mysteries remain unsolved, promising many more thrilling stories still waiting to be uncovered. The Horseman Mural. In the mysterious northern lands of Peru, beneath the shadow of ancient, time-worn temples, there lies a mural that was buried in oblivion for a century. This is the wall painting of Huaca Penana Temple, a relic of the once vibrant and enigmatic Mucha culture. The mural's history stretches back over a millennium, telling a story of the disappearance and miraculous rebirth of ancient art. More than 100 years ago, the German explorer and archaeologist Hans Heinrich Brüning documented the existence of this mural with a simple black and white photograph. But then, in a moment of distraction, he lost track of it. As Hans became preoccupied with other expeditions, thick vegetation grew up, covering the wall entirely and causing the mural to vanish from the eyes of the world's archaeologists for nearly a century. During that time, no one remembered this one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Its memory survived only in a few written notes and a faded old photograph. It wasn't until the 21st century that a young archaeologist, Sam Gami from the University of Freiburg, set out to rediscover its traces. With uncommon patience and passion, he cleared away the dense undergrowth and finally unveiled the ancient mural, a masterpiece created from two distinct artistic traditions. the refined fusion of Mucha and Lambayeque motifs from northern Peru. Through the faded colors, the image of the horseman emerged at once unfamiliar and sacred, like a living memory from a distant era preserved in every brushstroke. To this day, the true meaning of the mural remains a mystery to researchers. Some believe it reflects ancient concepts of ancestry, spirits blending with nature, able to transform into half-human, half-animal forms to protect their descendants. Others see echoes of ancient religious ceremonies where humans, animals, and deities coexist, forming a bridge between the earthly realm and the invisible world. The Huaca Pinana mural is not just an artistic legacy of a vanished civilization. It is also proof of the endurance of collective memory and values that transcend the ups and downs of history. Once again, the light of modern scholarship has returned a priceless work to the world, and from here, the legend of the horseman lives on, ready to be told anew on the mystical lands of Peru. The ancient archaeological site at Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico. Amid the vast white sands of New Mexico, members of Holloman Air Force Base stumbled upon an extraordinarily ancient archaeological site, one that reveals traces of human presence dating back more than 8,000 years. Hidden beneath layers of sand, this site bears the unmistakable imprint of the Paleo-Archaic era, a pivotal period marking the transition from a lifestyle of hunting and gathering to humanity's first tentative steps toward agriculture. Here, archaeologists have uncovered a variety of primitive artifacts, flint shards, grinding stones, and small, simply crafted tools, all reflecting the rudimentary technological level of the indigenous people of that age. Most striking of all are the remains of ancient hearths, where traces of ash and charcoal still linger, bearing witness to communal meals shared around the fire by these small desert communities. While the exact name of the people who once lived here remains unknown, the evidence points to a crucial turning point in human history. The shift away from nomadic life towards settled existence, the beginnings of crop cultivation, new ways of preparing food, and the first organization of long-term communities. The stone tools, the remnants of ancient hearths, and the marks of daily life left at Holloman do more than recount a period of transition. They help unlock the evolutionary journey of humankind in the deserts of the American Southwest, where so many mysteries of history remain yet to be fully discovered. The forgotten Assyrian city. On the wind-swept plains of what is now Turkey, where the Tigris River glides quietly across the flatlands, there once stood an ancient city called Tushan. More than 2,000 years ago, this was a flourishing center of the Assyrian Empire, the cradle of Mesopotamian civilization adorned with grand palaces, imposing temples, and a vibrant, ceaseless pulse of daily life. While Tushan could not match the splendor of Nineveh, it remained a symbol of power and intellect for its time, holding an important place on the map of the East for nearly 3 centuries. The history of Tushan is marked by fierce upheavals. In 612 BC, as the allied armies of Babylon and Media marched north, a storm of war swept through the region. The city was conquered and destroyed. Its generations of inhabitants who had lived, loved, and dreamed were buried under ashes, leaving behind only scattered pages of history. Over the centuries, Tushan faded from human memory, lost beneath layers of silt and the relentless passage of time. For generations, no one knew exactly where it had once stood. Yet, Tushan's fate stirred once again with the dawn of the 21st century. When the Elisu Dam project on the Tigris began, archaeologists from around the world rushed to the site, racing against time to uncover lost heritage before the rising waters submerged it forever. Ancient domes, crumbling walls, remnants of palaces and temples, pottery, and carved stelae were all unearthed in a wave of poignant emotion. What they found was not just artifacts, but a vivid cross-section of Assyrian life from renowned kings to ordinary citizens. But when the dam was completed, the river slowly rose, swallowing every trace the archaeologists had struggled to save. The city of Tushan vanished from the map once more, this time beneath the silent surface of a reservoir. Hundreds of ancient relics, untold mysteries, aspirations, sorrows, and the pride of a golden age were lost again to darkness, surviving only in the records and memories of those who once walked its ground. The story of Tushan is both the tragedy and the enduring legend of cities that once burned brightly. It reminds us that no matter how much humanity strives to preserve its legacy, some treasures are destined to flow away with the river, leaving only faint traces in the memory of the land and its people. Strange creature in Russia. An alien invasion. If one day you happen to stumble upon something strange by your local riverbank, you might assume it was just a tiny fish, or perhaps a fledgling bird not yet ready to fly. But on a fateful afternoon in the town of Snowy Bor, a woman named Tamara discovered something that left even the scientific community shaking their heads in disbelief. While bathing in the river, she accidentally scooped up a tiny creature less than an inch long, so bizarre in appearance that anyone who saw it would immediately think of something from a science fiction story. This being had an unusually elongated head, an extended skull, tiny limbs with curved claws, and showed no signs of wings or a tail. Its body structure bore no resemblance to any familiar animal on Earth. Its appearance instantly sparked an uproar, with local media racing to report the story, while the seasoned biologists at the Carr Institute of Biology found themselves completely unable to identify its origin. All had to admit they had never seen a creature like it before. What made the story even more mysterious was that after the specimen was sent off for examination, it suddenly disappeared without a trace. No one knew what became of it, nor could anyone say for certain if it now resided in a secret laboratory or had been quietly hidden away by someone. Rumors spread quickly through the community, ranging from theories about a mutant animal caused by environmental pollution to speculation that it was an extraterrestrial creature that had somehow ended up on Earth. The unexplained arrival and disappearance of the Snowy Bor creature ignited the imaginations of millions. It called to mind stories of UFOs and strange encounters that have fascinated humanity for decades. Could it be that somewhere out there in the universe, other life forms are quietly watching us, and that sometimes, just sometimes, a few tiny visitors might have set foot on Earth, leaving behind only the faintest trace before vanishing as if they had never existed at all? That question will haunt scientists and mystery enthusiasts for years to come. For every night, as darkness falls by the quiet river, people still whisper stories about an alien invasion that may have taken place in some remote corner of far-off Russia. The headless creature washed ashore in Portugal. Beneath the pale sunlight of the Algarve coast, the remains of a massive sea creature were unexpectedly discovered, lying silently on the sand, its body already beginning to decompose, but still showing the smooth, distinctive lines characteristic of a dolphin. However, its head had completely vanished, leaving behind a deformed figure that sent chills through anyone who saw it. There were no signs of ordinary bite marks. Instead, there was a bizarre gap, as if this creature had been robbed of its head by some unknown force deep within the ocean. This discovery quickly drew the attention of marine biologists, mystery hunters, and conspiracy theorists alike. For this was not the first time that the remains of sea creatures had appeared in such a strange state along the Portuguese shoreline. The story became even more sensational when, not long before, another dolphin carcass had been found in a similar condition on a remote beach in England. Questions about an unknown predator or even some invisible force lurking in the depths only added to the sense of mystery surrounding these events. Some marine biology experts suggested that this might simply be the result of natural decomposition or scavenging by other animals. Yet, there were many who believed that behind this headless creature lay a much larger story. Could there truly be a mysterious sea monster still silently stalking the ocean's depths? Or is this the mark of environmental changes that humanity has yet to foresee? Whatever the answer may be, the image of this headless creature remains a powerful reminder that the sea is forever filled with wonders and secrets that we are far from fully understanding. If you found these mysterious stories fascinating, please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our next discoveries. See you in the next video.